being 7:05, we're a little bit behind the power curve tonight. It's the meeting for January 12th. All three selectmen are present, town administrator is present. Recording for the citizens of Dunbarton is Mr. Lee Martell, thank you, Lee. And we have cemetery trustee, committee chair here, and member of the public, former selectman, Bob Martell. Okay, gentlemen, I have some minutes from last week.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of January 5th, 2023 as amended.
I second.
Any discussion on those minutes, gentlemen?
No, I think after they were amended, they were very well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes of January 5th, 2023.
I'll second Justin's motion.
Any discussion on those?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
One more there. Those do not have to be sealed. Okay, I'll open up for public comment right off. Go ahead, Lee.
Yep, Lee Martell, I just want to, let you guys know, I'm thanking the rec committee that you guys appointed, because they're helping me with those banners that I got. I salvaged all those banners, they were in garbage bags at the school, and I cleaned them as best I could, I boxed them, and they're gonna take them and help to see if they can distribute them, or do something with them rather than throw them out. So I thought that was pretty good that they jumped right on that to help out, you know?
Excellent,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep, thanks, Leo.
They've been really good to work with at the office as well.
Yeah.
Reconciling and whatnot, they were instrumental in getting online registration, cause they don't wanna handle any money, and they're doing a good job.
Yeah,
Doing a
right,
really good
yeah,
job.
interesting, good.
Okay, Don, anything?
No.
Okay, Bob, anything?
No.
Okay. All right, I'll bring it, back to the board. All right, gentlemen, today we're gonna have to roll up our sleeves and, look at some fine numbers here today. So, Lean, we'll start with revenues today.
Okay,
We should have a spreadsheet here with revenues.
Which one you gonna go by the actual one, Lee? Is that what you're
I would
gonna
like to go, yes, we'll go by that one first, and then you can, make any changes. This is the
This one?
worksheet with the lines, so the one that's sideways, a little bit bigger in font, I did that for
Got it.
Dave. And I explained to you guys last week that in this software program, the accounting, any excess over your projected budget is shown as a negative. So when you're looking at the current year revenues, which is in column F, column E is the budget, column F is what we actually collected and was merged into the system. And then, even though it says uncollected, I added the word excess revenue for your benefit, Dave, so that the 9,085 is over and above what we collected on our current use this year. We still have a lot outstanding, it's gonna be another big year, and I will review those in the worksheet as we go along.
Okay.
Yield taxes, we came in a little high, we budgeted a conservative 5,000, we came in at 9,217, higher than the projected budget. Other taxes.
Now, you
we-
wrote uncollected, all of these are uncollected?
No, they're excess. We have, right there in that first top section, we have $18,300 roughly, higher. But then if you look at the payment in lieu of taxes, we budgeted 1,000, but we only collected 641, so that's a deficient,
Hold on,
deficiency.
you're hopping around here, where you
Yeah,
going?
third row.
Third row, the
Other
third,
taxes.
other taxes,
Yeah,
and it shows 358.50, that's still outstanding, we never collected that, so that brings that total to a negative. And it's carried on the next page at
so
the top.
why on your heading did you write balance uncollected excess revenue?
That's what the program calls it, balance uncollected. But if it's in a negative, it's actually a good thing, it's more money than what you anticipate.
And it's net, and it's collected if it's in
Yes,
process.
that's
If it's
correct,
in parentheses, it means a positive.
positive, correct. So, the totals from these pages will be at the top page on the next row, but as we go down, interest on taxes, again, we have the category, if you look in column A, they all fall under the Department of Revenue Code 3190. They're just broken out in the system as the clerk's receive the monies, we budget one line, 10,000, and the program divides it in different categories, so interest on property taxes collected, was under by 4,392, but the interest cost and liens, which we didn't put any in, is 7,142, so the grand total of taxes is we're over for the $10,000 budget line by
Okay.
2,750.
Gotcha.
You see how that works? And then when you add those two, the first section of revenues with the penalties and interest, that category from taxes, we over collected $20,694.
Okay.
Any questions, Dave?
Good,
Okay.
John?
Next group is the license permits and fees, and that is in category 3210 and 3220. And again, for our accounting purposes, we budget one line total. We, had a conservative budget of 675,000. And if you look at the column F, which would be the one that says 813,645,
Correct.
is the total sum of those accounts. So that means we've over collected 138,645 from the town clerk's categories.
Okay.
Any questions, Dave? Justin, anyone?
Nope.
Okay. Building code permits. That category sits by itself, it's the code 3230, and typically we budget a conservative 20,000. And the reason why we go conservative, and it's been proven for the last like 10 years that it's increased our surplus. So, by going conservative, we typically will collect over, hopefully, our projected, revenues, and then we'll have increased our surplus and or you have money to work with to apply towards a new budget. We budgeted 20,000, she came in at 39,111.78, so that's an excess of $19,011.
I think it's important to note that if you look at the year before, we only went over, we budgeted 20, but we were at 23, so we got, it's, just because it went up 39 doesn't mean we wanna over budget that line again, I agree with you, Lean.
Okay,
Okay,
if like everyone's aware, we've got a lot of new lots, we've got a lot of new, homes being built, and
Right.
she's doing a
Mortgage-
good job
the mortgages are
making
up.
sure
yeah.
that we, collect the fees per square foot for each
Gotcha.
trade and each permit.
Okay,
And then the next category is 3290, which again, the system breaks out in different collection lines. We budget one total of $10,000. And you can see from the column F, 11,850, we've over collected $1,850. So for a total of license permits and fees, we have an excess of 159,507.
okay,
Okay, next category is revenues from other grants. Nothing in those first two accounts. The ones we typically will budget for is the highway block grant. We know of, and we have a known, PILT, which is the federal forest grant. We usually get a little over 3,000 from them every year. Flood control, we typically will budget a line there, and then rooms and meals. All the other lines would be, either grants that the department heads apply for, that we get reimbursed for, or, things like that. So in this case here, in 2022, we originally budgeted, I believe it was $90,000 for the highway, I should've brought my book with me, $90,000 for highway block. I'm sorry, it was 103, and it came in a little less, so we adjusted that at tax rate setting to the 102,133, so that's an actual number that was given to us by the state. PILT, we did receive that check, so that was a flat income, no excess. The, flood control reimbursement, we made the adjustment at tax rate setting. We typically will, budget around 63,000, the DRA increased that to 68,766, and you can see the system, or the check I received had 32 cents, the DRA rounds their, numbers when they're working on setting the tax rate, so that's why it's showing an excess of 32 cents. Same with the rooms and meals, we had originally budgeted,
conservatively,
I think it was 135 is the annual, and then this year they increased it at tax rate setting to 266,622. and that's how we set our tax rate, so you can see that there's no excess really. We use that money to set the tax rate. The grant revenue, that was, a combination of the police department applied for cameras, and, it was a 50% match. And then also in the other state reimbursements, John Wigan had applied for a grant, it was a 90-10% match, so we received $49,000 from the equipment, grant fund, and then he had to spend, about 10% of it, so that's where we've gotten reimbursed some of the additional monies there. Next category, the whole
Is
group.
that supposed to be all grants, revenue?
Yeah, they all get combined, I do have a breakdown here, 335902 was, actually a PD radio grant we received we applied for in 2021, received a check in 2022 for $1,500. New Hampshire the Beautiful, if you remember, Woody came to the board with his budget, and he said, after a public hearing, that he had applied for a New Hampshire Beautiful grant for his, storage trailer, and he was expecting some money, didn't have dollar amount. We ended up receiving $2,918, so those are reflective of a 2021 expenditure, but we received the money in 2022.
So it's
that-
pass through almost.
Yeah, well, no, that one is actually true revenue,
True
because they were able to recoup grant money that, not in the same year, but in the following year. So
okay.
that's about $4,400.
Okay,
Whereas the next two, I have a PD radio grant reprogramming, it was $1,150, and that's passed through. We had to expend the money first, give them a receipt that we paid, and then they reimbursed us. And then the last part of that is a bicycle grant. I think you recall, Chris saying that they applied for a grant, and they received a $1,500 donation of unanticipated money, and that is the, offset of that money that we had spent on the bike. And then the last one was the New Hampshire retirement, portion that we received from, at tax rate setting, that was $8,063. So that comes together, and it, gives you an excess of $7,068. And if you wanna know the next one, which is O2,
8,063. Why is 8,063 on current year budgeted?
cause I had to include the new revenue dollar amounts that the Department of Revenue, set a tax rate. In the past, I hadn't been doing that, and there was a comment in the auditor's, statement that I should be adjusting the projected revenues to reflect what the DRA changes in our settings.
So read to me again one time, what is the 863?
That is the money that we received from House Bill 1221, New Hampshire Retirement System. They had over-collected, and they were returning funds to the different communities.
So, why is that deducted from the 15,000?
Because it's already, the actual revenue line, which is, E, and follows all the way down to the bottom at $1,268,730. That is the money you use to set your tax rates. We had projected something and brought it before the voters, it increased with these, the rooms and meals, the New Hampshire retirement, and, that was pretty much
So you're
it.
trying to tell me you had that $8,000 in our budget prior?
I had to make an entry based on the auditors to increase our projected revenues so that they're reflected that we had it used for tax rate setting.
now that was done by DRA, as I recall.
Yeah, DRA had me put that number in there, and the auditors have said that we have to include any adjustments made at tax rate setting. So we had a zero there before, and then I had to include that 8, so that's why it only looks
Now,
like
the
7,000.
the money just came.
I know, but it says a negative, Mike.
But it's at higher, it's still higher.
I don't follow you. You're taking $8,063
And we're-
away from the 15,131, which is current year total revenues.
right, cause you have to actually say that you expected the money, and it's part of that $15,000. So the stuff that went over and above See, I wouldn't have had I
You're
would have-
saying we have to say, we expected the money, but we really didn't expect that line item.
We didn't until we set the tax rate. That was a zero, and I had to put money in that line, so all the extras, which I just read off to you,
Yeah,
make up the difference of $7,000.
I understand that part.
Yeah,
But that money came at DRA when they added it in.
that's right. It's no different than the one that's above there, that's the, rooms and meals. I had, that 266, we set it at 130. That's what we went to the voters at with. But the DRA changed the number, and I had to increase my actual projected budget to 266, so then it's a wash.
Do you have that, Justin?
I don't really
Alright,
understand
in
why.
other words,
I
alright,
wanna have,
why
I
it
wanna
gets
have the
put there,
accountants
but-
come in and have a workshop with us about this, cause
Okay,
it's not making any sense to me.
well,
okay.
I don't understand why it's put there, but
no, we have,
The
we send our numbers forward to DRA at tax setting, okay?
They're
And
estimates.
and our estimates, and DRA shakes the tree, this is state money coming to us. In other words, we're gonna get room and meals tax, we'll get more than we anticipated. We have a grant, we're getting more than we anticipated. By the way, you have to adjust your numbers now because we're giving you more. We're doing it at tax setting, and we're gonna set the tax based upon what we're adding to your budget.
That's right.
So in other words, it had nothing to do with us, it was all done above
But
us.
if you're adding it to our budget, we should still end up with excess revenue from it at the end of the year.
It's a pass-through, in other words, they set the tax rate on, they set the tax rate for us.
You're saying they set the tax rate, Mike,
Right.
but if they add money to money we didn't have in there already.
Correct.
So that should increase our budget, so at the end of the year, we should have more revenue, the revenue shouldn't get deducted from it.
But we spent the money, cause
Yeah.
if you look on the last page, Dave, and you look at the town report, that 1,268,730 was actually less, was what we went to the voters with. So now it's increased, and we're able to reduce the tax rate by 28 cents, or it might have been more.
This past October.
This past October.
Dave, do you follow? I don't mind having a workshop to go through in more detail.
And I want our accountants there.
I think that's overkill, I
I
think,
don't care if it's overkill, I've been going through these, I wanna make sure that these numbers line up and are correct.
Mhm.
And the way they're listed here, I can't follow them.
okay, could you understand the room and meals though?
I understand the room meals and I understand how they changed that at tax rate setting,
Right,
but we're increasing our budget from what we went to the voters with.
correct.
So there ought to be increased revenues at the end of it, to me.
And that's, she's depicting increased revenues.
There is, it's, 1,578,000 in the last column, last page. There is more revenue, but we have used some of that money to set the tax rate.
How much of it did you use out of that to set the tax rate?
Well, the thing is, I would say just 266 minus what was it, we budgeted 130 at one point.
What?
For room and meals tax,
It was 130, yes,
and so that's over $100,000 right there.
so,
You know, when you look at these lines, you've got prior year
yep,
revenues, and then current period budgets, revenues,
yep,
current year budget,
that's what we projected,
current year to date,
yep,
and then your balance of excess revenues.
correct.
And so when you look at that, when you adjusted the 266 up from the 130 or whatever we had in our budget, we should be able to read that somewhere and see that on here.
I know, I
And,
agree with
You
you.
know, I'm looking back here and I'm seeing 215 was last year's, now we're 266 on this one. When you're telling me it's really 130 what we had in our current year budget.
For both of those years, each
Yeah.
year we've had 130,000, and the DRA adjusted those numbers at tax rate setting.
And we don't know, we don't have knowledge of that information until it goes to DRA. Am I correct on that?
Yep,
It just makes it very difficult to follow.
Well, DRA is in the middle of, our management, I have to admit that's the unfortunate thing, but they control the
You
state
know, they're
revenues.
halfway through the state, they're halfway through our year.
Right, we projected, much less than what the DRA gave us.
and
They
what,
give us
and
so much
the
more.
ultimate turnout of that excess revenue decreased our tax rate less than what we were anticipating would be true, what we proposed.
And I think as I recalled, when we set up, it was at 1:30, we were conservative because we were in the middle of COVID and we didn't wanna go crazy because
Yeah, I remember that amount.
COVID restrictions, we said could have dampened everything, but we got out of COVID and went through Massachusetts came up and spent their money, I love it.
Okay, continue on.
Okay, so we've gotten through,
But I'm willing to do a workshop, but I don't know if we need to have auditors there.
well, no, I think they would be the
counts.
one, they would be the ones that would be able to explain how and why. Because I have never put the DRA's adjustments in the system, and it's always been a comment. And when I ran it by the software company, our support, I said, what does he mean by me making adjusting my numbers to reflect the DRA
Right.
tax thing? She says, oh, you have to put them in the system. I said, well, how do I do that? I've never done that before. And she said, and she explained, open up a journal, call it an adjustment journal, and then put a note in there. If you look at the details in the journal, I have a journal 9482, which I opened in December, and I put notes, House Bill 221 NHRS, and that increased, in this case, it was only 8,063 because there was a zero there before. But if you look at the one for the meals and rooms, it was 130, which has now gone away, and it's reflected here as 266, 622.
All right, I think we can move on.
Okay, next category. The entire from 89 to 105 is category 3401. We typically will budget $50,000 conservatively. 30,000 is from, income in all different, lines. And then the 20,000 is from recycling income. So you can see that, if I subtract the 47,331, the other lines came in at 33,434. So we still exceeded our projected income from departments by 3,434. See how I typed it in below? Cause I knew you would ask the question.
I haven't seen the number you're talking about yet.
Look at, see the 80,765 for
Right.
that category?
Yeah,
Right beneath it says 33,434, that's the difference of the 47 from, transfer station recycling.
Why doesn't it match the income from other departments of 30,765?
They're all, see, every account, 89 to 105 is in the same group, 3401. So we budget one line at $30,000, and then the computer or the software, the system, and how we enter our receipts, breaks it out as income from department, 624, fire department reimbursement, $30, probably for a report. Transfer station disposal fees, the ones they charge us at the, customer at the transfer station, 19,344, and it keeps on going, planning and zoning, police department income for reports, insurance, we could have a very, very long, lengthy, breakout,
So I
but
see the excess revenue is 30,765, right?
30,000,
Income from departments,
income from departments.
the total line, see your total line?
Mm-hmm,
So you got 30,765, right?
mm-hmm,
That's the excess we were over.
Yep.
And why doesn't that match the other revenue down the bottom is what I'm trying to get at.
it's because the perpetual care is in a negative.
Gets pulled out?
Yeah.
No, gets added to it.
No, see, the regular number is a negative, and the parentheses is a positive.
So you're at 28 actually on
Yes, for that group, that's correct.
how'd you get back up to the 33, Lean?
If you didn't include the perpetual care, the 30,000 I budgeted for 3401 is actually 33,434. I just created that new perpetual care line. I'm not sure if the 3401 should be the account charges that I use, or if I should put it in the other one, which is 3409, to separate it from it, but basically, we're on our budget for projections.
So
33,434 is revenue from 89 to 105. I put numbers in the far left to help you. If you have a question on a certain line, you can tell me to look at.
no, but, okay, why, okay, And so, the next column where it says 3765.
30,765, yeah?
Right, and it's essentially $30,000 less, more than, 30,000, 50,000, oh, I see, it's over, that's what we're over, 50,000.
It's because the first line, income from department is a positive number, which is a negative,
Gotcha, okay.
but they're grouped together.
I'm with Dave, one more Dave here for a minute. You have a 33,434, how did we get that 33,434?
I took that 80,765,
Got it?
and I subtracted just the one account that's recycling income, 47,
Oh, that's just,
331, cause we budgeted 20,000 for that line. So we had 27,000 more that we collected in our recycling, that Woody trucks to other places, and then the combination of those other accounts came to 33,434.
so that other revenue is less transfer station, that's all that means.
Correct. I just wanted to point out that we budgeted 30,000 for income from departments, 20,000 for recycling, and we have exceeded both.
Okay,
So prior year was 48,000, this year budget was 47,000.
Yeah,
We have 20,000 in
we projected.
current year budget.
Woody was telling us we weren't gonna get in as much revenue, so we went conservative.
got it, okay.
So our revenues are 47,000 there.
Just for the recycling, yeah, for what, all that work that he does in
And you
his department.
subtracted 20, so you got 27. So you use 27, 19, and all the rest of the numbers to come up to 80? No.
No. The recycling income budget was budgeted at 20,000, and we collected 47,331, okay?
What do you mean, 80's still the total of that one column?
Of that whole column is 80,000. But I wanted you guys to have an idea of what the other accounts collected.
Less
Came
the
up to
transfer station.
less
She
the
just tried to
transfer
break it
station.
out for you.
Yeah, no, she just gave us
Those three numbers.
She added granularity, so the thing is, the other departments by themselves,
Came in at
33.
33,434.
right, okay, got it.
Cause there's realistically two different budget lines here.
Correct.
So,
I can delete all those accounts and just put all the money into
No, I-
one, but when someone says, how much, zoning money did you collect, it's, it's,
Go back to Mike's question, where'd the 33,434 come from?
if you take 80,765.60 and
Yeah.
subtract 47,331.19,
Yeah,
it comes to 33,434.
that's all the other accounts less the transfer station.
Correct.
That's so we can, like, the transfer station did well by themselves, they exceeded their budget. All the other departments exceeded themselves too.
I gave you some of this information because we're gonna go over the projected revenues for 2023. And this is how I came up with my projected
Cause it
revenues.
looks to be there's two different budgets. There's one for the transfer station
Yep,
and one for every other department.
that's right.
So she's just breaking them into two separate sections for you so you can see.
So we, bottom line is we have a nice little money-making operation in the transfer station. Some second plate off, okay, Lean, I say we go charge on, Dave, I'm,
Okay.
okay?
All set?
Miscellaneous revenues, I don't typically budget anything in those accounts. So we sold a vehicle, we sold, this one's a.
cornerstone, the vehicles, property.
Yeah, and I think we had a few things that went to the auction, so
Yeah.
all told, that category, we exceeded the zero budget projection with $6,539,
Okay,
okay? Next, category is interest on deposits, we always budget $1,000 this year, we got a little bit more than our $1,000 projection, we're $484 higher. Next category is rent of town property, and obviously, I could delete that line, we no longer have the rent, so that's zero. And revenues other, this is where I put the miscellaneous revenues of the donation from the town hall restoration project. We needed to enter that into the system, but that has been used towards the warrant, but I have to put it somewhere. So if you wanted a true total general fund revenues, we collected $309,739 over what we projected, even with tax rate adjusting a couple of those numbers up. The one thing I do wanna take out of there is the donation for the warrant, cause that has been applied to the warrant itself. So if you needed to use a number to, come up with
Why
for,
is there a difference from 75 to 74?
there is another item in there that is, again, those other items, there's, miscellaneous revenue, there's, a couple of voided checks, 5 of them actually, that the, tax collector asked us to void, and that's almost $600.
Okay,
Credit from, a fastenal that has been carried for a few years, that I requested a reimbursement, 247.
okay, that's good, that's good.
Spillers, et cetera, et cetera, so that's how those
Okay,
totals
No
come
problem,
together.
no problem.
But I just need to deduct just the amount of the
The donation,
donation.
got it.
And then the grants for equipment, you guys, if you want to keep that in your total, you can. But that is a pass-through, basically, we did expend some money, so we can use that as our projection for reducing the new budget. But you may see that after, the auditor does our financial statement, that our, surplus will be slightly off by our projection. So if I have the 309, and I just subtract the 74, 141. Excess revenues is at 235, 598. Or you can deduct those two grant equipment numbers, and you have an excess that I feel comfortable with over our projected revenues of 220,663.
Well, you can't usually use the grants for equipment, those are pass-through, those are already gone, that's gone, that money's gone.
Oh, that's right. I subtracted those, so the
Right.
220,663
Is
is
the number we should be using.
that, or, yes. That's-
The 235 number you just came up with, don't even go there.
Well, the reason she's saying 235, Mike, is cause we've already taken those amounts of money out of this year's budget already.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
So you could use those.
you could
as-
use them, I
Yeah.
know that the only one that's earmarked is the 74, which was,
Right.
went to the article,
Okay.
so you can either use the 220,663, or you can use the 235,598.
okay.
Okay, so
Alright.
that's where we are for excess revenues,
Does anyone
Keep
hand hurt
that-
yet?
yeah, mine does, but,
Aye, sir.
keep that number in the back of your mind, so then
Okay.
move on to the revenues
What's this one
worksheet.
for?
It's the one with the lines on the right-hand column 6.
Yep, budget revenue worksheet,
Oh, do you have it?
yep,
That's what this one.
it's like this.
That's only 4
That's
pages.
just a breakdown of what we just did, right?
Well, this is what I'm gonna project for this coming up, and if you disagree with me, I will make my changes.
This is where we can be aggressive or conservative, and normally we like to be a little more conservative as we go
Right.
down. If we're aggressive, we come up short money.
Yeah, that's right, and we end up using our surplus when we set the tax rate. That's how that works, okay, Dave?
Yep.
Alright, so land use change tax, I think we're gonna have another good year. We have quite a few still outstanding current use, land use
So-
change tax that are being reserved by the, banks at closing, but I have not processed the tax warrant yet.
I think
So
45
I'm
is
going
good.
45 again.
Yep, Dave?
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Next line, yield tax. We had a really good year for yield tax. Jo Marie did tell me today that she still has some that are outstanding and pending. There's a big one over by Burnham's property, and there's a few throughout the town that are still pending. So 5,000's conservative, we can bring it up, but it's up to the board. I really
You
like-
see, we just got another big one in for Stone Farm today too.
That's the other one too.
You wanna bring up the
I
7?
think leave it at 5, cause it's an average and just gives you excess
I was
revenue.
gonna say,
That's
look at the
Okay.
prior year too.
Yep,
Leave it.
Leave
okay,
it, okay, and then, payment in lieu of taxes is just basically some interest accruals of the tax collector. I dropped it a little bit because
That looks good.
okay,
That's fine.
and then next line, again, that whole interest on taxes is 3190. So we typically will budget one line and the system will break it out in different categories. Last year we budgeted 10, we came in at 12,750, I budgeted at 10, are you okay with that?
yeah, that's good.
Leave it.
Alright, moving on, yes. Next category is business and licenses. Again, this is category, it's actually got two accounts, 3210 and 3220. The system seems to generate numbers in the 3220 group. We, in the past, last year, budgeted $675,000 for vehicle, fees and other licenses. We came in at $813,645, and I have budgeted $675 again.
I think we should leave that, cause that gives us a balance of revenues to work with, and if this economy does change, like I think it might change the,
Things
New-
will
people
be-
might keep their cars older and it will
Right,
drop
and you
down.
won't collect as much revenue.
Okay,
Okay with
Justin,
that?
okay?
Wanna
Yeah, I
increase
mean,
it?
we could change it to 700, but does that really matter?
Well, see, what happens is your new car that brought in the extra revenue in 2022, now is a year older, so it's gonna, when they re-register it in
It's gonna come down.
2023,
Yeah, but even
the price is
even
gonna
if
come
if
down.
you look at prior year, it was 791, so that's all I'm just
Okay.
looking at. But
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm fine with leaving it the same, it really,
Is that all right?
I don't think 25,000 really makes a
No,
lick of a
okay.
difference, but.
All right, building permits, again, they had a good year, I'm budgeting conservative 20,000 unless you want me to increase it.
I don't mind going 25 on that one, gentlemen.
Yeah, but prior year was 23,
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we better stick with it.
and with the
Alright.
interest rates and stuff like
Alright,
that.
alright, I'm with you.
okay, and then the other group categories, 3290, that's the other licenses, we typically do 10,000. Last year we came in just higher, 11,850.
I think 10 is perfect.
10 is
Leave it.
okay? Alright. Alright, and then the next section is, from revenues from federal government, other revenues. So, this is where we budget our highway block grant, our, federal forest PLT, PILT, flood control, rooms and meals, and other grants.
There's
So,
something I haven't seen in here is the bridge grant we got.
that's an unanticipated revenue, and that is being held and cannot be commingled with the revenue of the town. I
It's
have
gotta be
it,
listed somewhere.
it's under unanticipated revenue. It's a liability account.
Why isn't the highway block grant listed separately?
That is known highway block money.
Cause
This
it
is,
comes every year.
comes every year, this is for, it comes in quarterly, 2 months, you're paying 2 months, first quarter is, July through October, and then October through December is quarter 2.
How about
And
when we
then-
get COVID money, we always saw that listed,
No, that was in a different account,
it was?
yeah, it's
Alright.
never commingled with the,
Why did we drop highway block grant to 90?
that's where it was last year.
Okay,
And, it actually came down about $300 if I remember. Prior year, highway
right,
block.
right.
So our tax rate setting, she took away, it was only, let's see here, highway block, highway.
It's $1,500 more this year. So,
I'm not worried about the
Says
highway
based
block,
on
but
us.
the rooms and meals, is it gonna stay high?
I don't think so, that's why I'm budgeting 135,
So it might go drop back down.
yeah, and that's,
That's-
I don't think we were expecting this much for, 2022, but that's what the DRA came up with, that they dispersed.
That's the bogey that saves us in a tax rate. Because it's $100,000 that is applied to its taxes at DRA level.
That's a potential 32-cent decrease on the tax rate setting.
I'm conservative, I think 135 is kinda low since,
Yeah, but we don't know if they're gonna keep it up, so.
right,
I
right.
just leave it.
That'll give us a little flexibility as we go forward budgeting for the town.
It would be nice if they had a crystal ball of what they're gonna do for next year for
We don't
us, so
know.
we know.
I concur with David. Justin, your thoughts?
was 215 the actual prior year?
Yeah, no, that was an adjustment at tax rate setting. That was
So what
set
was the
at
prior year?
130, so it was 135,
Oh,
it's been
sorry.
135.
Stinky
I
thing
was
is the
at
adjustments come
135.
in October, so
Yeah,
we,
Right.
Just
you
leave
know,
it at
we're halfway through our
135.
year by then, so.
Alright,
yeah.
leave it,
So you're okay with the highway block at 90,
yes.
PILT at 3,000. Flood control, last year, this is the one where it came down a little bit.
Why is 70, we went up, maybe we should keep it at 68.
Well, I think they're trying to push,
Which
getting
one you
more
want?
revenue
Flood
from
control,
they're trying to get more,
68K.
That's it.
Yeah, I think we should come down.
Yeah, I would go with 68, it's only $2,000, not much.
I don't think it
Leave.
affects it, I don't think it affects the whole thing
No,
overall.
alright, leave,
it's
good,
a round
good
number.
answer. Good as
And then
presented.
again, rooms and
Yeah.
meals, I'm doing that conservative number of 135. Cause I have seen it go down before by only a couple thousand, but it seems like the
Room
numbers.
and meals will make up for it.
Hopefully.
And then grant revenue, that's the, milfoil grant. That is a known grant that I know that I have to set in the revenues if we know we're receiving
I
it.
propose we leave it the way it's presented.
And so if you'll look at this 15,131, that does not, there was no grant revenue from milfoil. So that was all the other departments that had applied during the course of the year and received grants. So that's where, even at 1360, if we don't have any milfoil diving, we will not receive that money. So
Gotcha.
that'll be a loss, but that's the way that it works.
One thing I'm at a loss from is, we do our budget
Yeah,
this time of year. We
Yeah.
go to town meeting, we have our budget.
Yeah.
You can look in that town report and you'll see our budget.
that's correct.
So in October, it went up to 266 versus 135 we had budgeted, right? So they make you redo that for your tax rate setting. So you really still have, you know, 130 more thousand as revenue to the town that you didn't have,
Yeah,
and it offsets our tax rate setting, which I understand.
yeah,
So our tax rate setting generally comes out, cause we try and make it even when we're going through our funding
yeah.
there, and we put money towards it to keep it somewhat flat. How with having $130,000 more of it, isn't it further reduced than what it was?
If you look at the last page, budget total, we went to the voters with $1,268,730. That's what our projected revenues were, that we proposed. And you can see it's 1,578,000, of course you take away the 75, so it's 1.5 million that we set the tax rate with. So that's where the increase came in, that's where it's being shown, that we changed our projected revenues from the voters to this 1.5 million versus the 1.268.
I see it's shown here, but it should have reduced the taxes more substantial than it did.
It did.
It did,
We did not reduce them that substantial.
Oh, it-
Over our budget that we went to the townspeople with,
right.
it did not go down that dollar amount. That's the part I'm getting confused with, and that's why I want the auditors to come in.
Yeah,
Cause at that tax rate setting, we do it in October, I understand that the DRA is telling you, put that number in there.
yeah,
But we've done our budget to the townspeople with the known funds that we're getting. Our
projected
revenues
funds,
always come in higher, cause we budget conservative.
Yeah,
Right,
So when we're trying to balance our budget at this time of year, and then it get changed in October, I understand the change, but it should go down a lot farther with these increased revenues.
not if other, see, you're talking about the town budget, this is the town budget, which is usually under $4.
Yeah.
But that's the overall, all the others, the school went up,
yeah, we're a small.
I think
It is a
did the
pretty school.
county go up,
Well, I wanna make sure that the cents, if we save 33 cents at the town, the school went up 15, I wanna make sure that those cents correlate to these dollars.
they do,
It's down at the state level, we don't even control those numbers, the state sets it for us.
I don't care who sets it, we need to make sure that these numbers correlate to pennies off the tax rate.
the
Like,
only
if we
thing,
saved 33 cents by our
Right,
excess
right.
revenue,
Yeah.
Right,
and the school went up 15,
right,
and we dropped it 19 cents, if I remember right.
yeah. So, the only two pieces of the tax rate that we know about are the local school and the town. So if we knew going into town meeting, which the school had projected it was gonna go up $1.80 or something, $1.60. They didn't go up as much as they had projected because they ended up with all this extra surplus, and they applied it to the tax
Yeah.
rate.
Dave, I'm trying to understand your concern, I'm trying to just put it in,
When you make that adjustment
right,
of just that one line item of $130,000 more than what we had budgeted
right,
in October,
that's the good news, we got.
I wanna make sure that that's all going back to the taxpayers.
Absolutely, in fact, it's.
Of course it is, they
Yeah,
have to, that's what they're using.
We're not getting that money per se, it's basically reducing the tax rate. We submit our expenses, our tax, what we submit as taxes, the tax bill, you might say. And then they add the revenue and they adjust the tax bill.
Okay.
Am I correct on that?
Yep, so, in October, we set the tax rate, okay, and,
I think our side was, 19 cents.
in 2021, the municipal side went from 405 in 2021 to 383. The county stayed flat at 253. The school was at $14.89, it went up to $15.29. And then the, state education was $194 and it dropped $133, so we ended up with a $22.98 tax rate overall.
Yeah, what I was looking at is our revenue. How much did the town, after our budget, when we redid our budget, were we down? It was like 19 cents, I think, over our budget.
Yeah. But
I'm
you
just going
can't,
off
you
memory.
can't take these excess revenues and use it only towards our portion, it goes through the whole,
I know.
it's applied to everything.
Okay. All right, Dave, I hear you, why don't we have a review of those revenues, I have no problem with that. But Lean, let's continue with the presentation.
Okay, our side went down 22 cents, Dave.
22, okay.
Yeah, was the number, I just checked it. Okay, so the reason why I asked you to review this, cause my budget isn't done, I have to work these numbers into the, Department of Revenue, worksheets, so I have to keep going here.
Okay,
So, on the agenda, we reviewed the revenues that.
You got one
now-
more page.
one more page, you wanna go through the one
Oh,
last page?
okay, I'm sorry,
Income from departments, the bottom half of the second to last page.
Right,
yeah. I do wanna print off the warrants, I noticed I didn't.
This is
put
where
it
you
in
have the
packet.
30 and the 20,000.
Okay, so interest, we typically put in at $1,000, and then the revenues other, 3504 and 3506, I don't budget anything, so
We're on
overall,
the page before that,
page before that.
the page before that, did I miss
income
some?
from departments.
Income from, again, I went with the same flat numbers, if you're okay with that. I think we're gonna have a good year still.
I think we should bring the recycling income up, based on these last 2 years, it's well above that. Bring it up to 30,
Where are you seeing, last year's, the
47.
It's
on the
on-
other
It's
worksheet.
on this worksheet,
Oh.
It's on-
because it showed,
Prior year was 48,834, this year's 47,331.
I propose maybe 30K.
So go 30 on that one,
30
30
on
and
that
30.
one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Do 30 and 30, so we'll have a total of 60 down there instead of 50.
okay.
What's it, in perpetual care maintenance,
Yeah, that's off the,
so 60 on the bottom, gotcha.
So the perpetual care is a, memo from the cemetery trustees that went to the trustee of the trust funds, earlier, maybe last week, a couple weeks ago. But that is, they're asking for that money to reimburse the town for the breakdown of all the perpetual care lots, so I know I'm getting that money. And then sale of town property, I don't typically, budget anything
Gotcha.
there. Interest on deposits, I keep it level at $1,000, that's, variable.
Okay.
Sometimes people pay their bills on time. So I will be increasing the bottom line by $10,000,
so instead of 1119, it's,
1,29046
Got it,
is the projected revenues that will help offset the operating budget.
did you ever do the actual versus the budget?
Oh, yes, oh no, I think I did it on this one. Oh, no, I didn't on this, I'm sorry,
1578
actual versus the budget.
470 minus
Yeah,
1268.
But you're not including the 75,000, right?
No, you did do it on the other page, it's 309,740.
Okay,
okay.
alright, so that's what I'll be proposing for the offset.
Right, they should match, right?
Yep. The next item on the agenda is.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay,
Huh, what do you know, they're matched.
Expenses to date. Okay, this one's gonna get really long, 15 pages long,
we can go through it.
and
Where are you on, you can go down
the
The big
printout-
packet,
the big packet first, only because, it gives you the detail and then the expenses on the, other format is just the accounts themselves, so we can work with either or make the changes right on the 15-page expense worksheet.
Okay,
The software allows me to put in notes so that the accounting secretary can use it as a reference of what gets paid where. And the Board of Selectmen, increased to $8,813, and that's primarily the 4% increase.
that's good,
Is that the one you're starting with?
yep,
Yeah. Town administrator, board reviewed the wages effective January 1st, which brought the administrator rate at $77,942. 4% COLA at town meeting brings that total wage to $81,61.
good.
Secretary town office, we have,
Gentlemen, if there's any issue, just stop, okay, I
Speak
wanna
up.
have this,
Yeah,
speak up,
this
okay?
is-
Lean, I don't know if you gotta go through them all like that, you can just say that the raise that we just
okay. Alright, secretary town office, I budgeted one person at 50 weeks, the other one at 52 weeks, total budget 67,060. And that came down a couple of thousand.
Okay,
Recording secretary, I based it on 37 meetings, I added 4 meetings, she's very helpful when it comes to the workshops and my available time to transcribe, so she's willing to do those meetings.
That's
That is,
good, that's
with
good.
the new rate, 5,077. Election, town clerk, board approved the 3% and then the 4% at town meeting, so that
Okay.
brings that up to 57,465. Deputy town clerk, she requested, the adjustment, the increase on her wage, and increasing the hours to 20 hours a week, so that brings that to
but
23,459.
again, gentlemen, I just wanna point out, I take exception with the increase of hours, but with no operating hours for the public open, but she's asking for more hours for a deputy, I take exception there. You can,
I'm gonna go opposite of you, Mike, because this is the learning curve that she spoke about in reference to Jennifer learning all the stuff that needs to be learned.
over a whole year,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's vacation coverage,
They gotta
election,
know a
and
ton of
learning.
stuff about,
Yeah, I think there's a
Crazy
lot of
things.
stuff they need to learn.
yes, but as a selectman, I get complaints consistently of hours not being available, no more
you
evening
know,
hours.
that's a whole different, to me, that's a whole different thing. I agree with you on the hours, but we're gonna have to fix that on the later.
I'm gonna stand by my exception, but I think I'm gonna be overruled here.
Okay, so that was, she's requesting the 23,459, that's what's in that spot. Election admin ballot services, one election, 3,071. Meals, one meal, one election, one meal, 400. State license fees, she requested 2350. Marriage license, she decreased that to 718. Vital stats, she decreased that to 684. Total budget for town clerk, 88,246, what she requested.
Okay,
Financial services, we have a contract with the auditor, and I budgeted $3,000 additional dollars for CPA
go,
assistance, that brings us to the flat budget of 19,000.
okay,
Tax collector is the, wage adjustment,
Got it.
CPI, 20,016, 610. Deputy tax collector is now a, annual budget is
Yep,
included with the
that's good.
stipend, 336. The treasurer, same thing, wage study and CPI,
got it,
9,003. Deputy treasurer, we established that, that's 216.
okay,
Dues, that includes a number of different things rounded, it comes to 3,200, there's a little increase in the NHMA dues.
okay,
Advertising town office, I increased that. That covers any type of public notice that we have to.
I noticed you were 2,835, you just increased it by 500. So,
Right, and I think there was a lot of additional advertising for like part-time help and other positions that I'm
Does that
hoping.
include the Indeed stuff too?
okay,
Okay.
No, Indeed is actually, is under. It is some services, I think. that we
yeah, but a
have.
lot of times we have to put stuff in the Concord Monitor all the time.
Advertising town office.
Was that?
No, I think you're right, that one does include the
That
Indeed.
includes the AD too, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
But-
Well, I was just wondering if maybe it'll be, so 2,000 will be fine.
I think so.
Yeah. They do want us back, they send me out emails all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going, postage,
Alright, postage, it's gonna be 3% in July, so I've increased that to 8,000.
okay,
Office equipment repair, left the same. Copy agreement, that is something we're contractual, 2,500
okay,
flat. I've got one bill outstanding, but I'm not gonna chase them. Computer support services includes the BMSI, True North, Adobe license, Microsoft, and Zoom license. That's increased $1,000 to 35.
Are all them licenses up this year?
They are up every year.
Wow, that's.
A lot of these are paid monthly. BMSI is paid in October, and, True North is paid monthly as well.
Now, was 32, is our actual 32.9, so 33,
33, yep.
and you're going up to 35, cause they,
We need to buy separate licenses for the laptops.
okay, I remember that.
Medical services, we typically do that, that's just for the physicals, we send our
Got it.
staff, and that's flat. Fees and services, it's for title search, deed search, and NSF bank fees, and we had a lot of NSFs this year, so that's up a little bit. I'm not sure if it's because the banks can't read the, electronic check that we print, or whatever it is, but we've had a lot of bounce checks this year. Printing town offices, I did get a quote, with the same company we've been working with, it's been working out well, his price did not go up. The $42.94 represents the town portion, and, if there's going to be garden club, the school portion, and Reed's Across Dunbarton that will contribute towards the total expense, so I kept it the same, cause his quote came in at $5,700.
okay,
Record preservation, Linda asked for 400. Telephone town office, I left it at 5,000. That includes, Pioneer, GSI, and Dunbarton Telephone.
Okay,
That's a hit or miss. Woody did say they were going up, but I'm not sure when that's gonna happen. Supplies town office, town clerks requested a stand-up desk, which is $1,000, so I've increased it 1,000 to 6,500. Training town offices, I, increased that to 2,000, covers town clerk, deputy, welfare, tax collector, moderator, and trustee training. And there was a little bit of extra on to certify the deputy, it's $450 a year, and it's for a period of 4 years. Education, we have a request from Brian Tyler, Chris Remillard for masters. The board approved those requests in a memo that he provided with you, and recently I've received emails for a 2-day course for grant writing. I would like to do that, it was advised that I should take that, and I think it would be beneficial for the town.
agreed,
Assessing is primarily just the CPI. Recording secretary, 1,046. Administration, the same, 2,202. Appraisal services, we increased that based on the permitting, the new lots, everything that they have to go out and pick up. Utility assessor is a contractual, 10,000. Computer sports, BOA, that's our vision software, and that's gone up slightly, so it's 7861. Recording fees. Pretty much flat all the way across. We spent 22,000. We still have, appeals for,
there's a lot of legal stuff coming out this year,
Eversource.
yeah,
I don't know if the board wants me to reduce that, we're still pending with one on
I
your.
think we better leave that with
Yeah,
what
I
we've
agree.
got pending now.
Yep.
We've
Yeah.
got 2 suits in place.
We have 2 of them out there. Personnel, social security was calculated at 49,156, and that's based on all the pay throughout the budget lines. Medicare calculated at 16,845. Retirement, the 174,190 is based on full staff of the police department, and I can reduce that to 163,125 if I reduce the wages for 2 full-time police officers from 12 months to 9 months. So this is just my side of it.
Okay, so 163,
I can reduce that line to 163,025, and that would basically be calculating retirement for 9 months, which is
I think
44,940.
we should do that with the time it takes to hire somebody.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I have to give you the numbers that.
I'm gonna write in the 163,
You're okay with that,
9.5,
okay.
yeah.
I think that's a
163.
good idea.
So Mike talked about some stuff similar to that.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, alright, so we're gonna change that. Unemployment, that was, Primex, and that went down slightly, 1,336. Workers' comp went down a little bit, 17,182. Longevity, we lost a couple of our long-term people, so that actually decreased slightly from last year. We had prorated one of the employees as they left in August or September or something, and our policy says that we prorate, so we only spent a portion of what was reserved
So
for him.
that 8,000 is based upon what you project,
Yep, for
Okay,
those,
that's
people that
good.
are longevity.
that's good.
Highway maintenance, the board has not made any changes to that, I think
think
it's
that's fine.
$1,000 is what we had set. Health insurance, I have 5 employees on medical plan, 1 new employee change from single to family. Medical for 5 employees is $79,660, that is a given, and that's only the employer's portion. 3 employees, opt to go into the stipend in lieu of medical, and that's cost of $797. I have to budget a minimum of the lower plan family
On the
for
new
these
officers.
2 officers, but the cost for that
For 12 months.
is 12 months, requested from the, PD is 7,917. I could reduce the budget by, $7,918.
By taking 3 months away.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know where he's at with
So
his.
7,000, so you're talking, we're at 112 now, so we're gonna be at,
Let's see, 129 minus,
105 somewhere.
798 equal 104,271. You okay with
Let me
that?
go 105.
105.
What do you think?
That's what I was at.
I mean, it could come in even lower if they have their own health plan and they go into stipend, but I don't know that for sure.
Right.
Okay.
It's a gamble.
Dental insurance, that went up just slightly because of the plan going from single to family, so that's, $3,055.
Okay,
I could reduce it by $200 if I reduce 2 of the, employees to 9 months.
do it. I would do it. Be consistent, Dave, agree?
So what's it gonna be?
Yep. 2855.
12 months, budget 9 months, budget would be what is there, and then PD's asked at 12 months, I need to add 141. I think this is the 9 months for the 2 officers.
Okay,
I was gonna say, cause your last one says add 7918 as well.
So just leave it?
yep.
So is it supposed to stay 112, 181,
Double check here, 12 months, plus I have the spreadsheet here.
So are we not supposed to go down to 105?
Let me double check, I've got my spreadsheet here.
If it's
I saw the language too.
2639 per month times it by 9 months.
Alright, so 23
Doesn't
budget,
make sense.
worksheet. Health.
Yeah, it should, its budget should be 112. I think you're good, Lean. It should be
The
the
number,
112.
I think I already
You already
budgeted it that
budgeted
way, so I
112,
did.
so the 105 numbers are wrong.
Full-time employees, this was medical options.
How can 112 be right, it went up so much? We spent 76, and it's gonna go up to 112 or 2 employees, I don't think so.
Why is it such a huge increase? It's over almost $40,000, 30.
Well, we had one go from single plan to, family plan, and then, the officer that left had a single plan, and then the other officer had a stipend in lieu of.
No, look at your math on the back, you get 79,660. 3 employees stipends, another 8,700. So there's 80, 90.
Yeah. and then add 7917,
That'd be the 104. Doesn't add up to 112.
well, that's what I put in there, which is the 12 months.
So
But
it
I
is
can-
105.
I can go down to 104,
Yeah.
105.
105, okay, your language was confusing,
know.
it's all right, we moved on, that's
Alright,
good.
dental insurance,
Alright,
are we
let me cross
changing
that
that or
out
not
again.
leaving it?
So 105.
The 105 is
We
good.
leaving the dental?
Now, can I just, the dental we're leaving, but I have my spreadsheet right here.
Take a moment then.
If I have 3 employees on stipend and 5 employees on medical, it comes to 112,788. 12 months for, new employee,
No, it doesn't, Lean.
let me see here.
At 5 employees, it's 79,660,
Mm-hmm,
and the medical's 87,97.
12 months for new employee, add 3 months each. 3 months of, medical is $4,000 for each employee, which is 7917. The 112,188 includes the stipend in lieu of, and that is correct, 112 includes the stipend, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 employees and stipends, comes to 112,188. And I have nothing earmarked for I have, 3 months. Where did I do
Lean,
that?
let's leave it at 104, and you have time this week to work on
To work with the next
Yeah,
week,
'cause
cause I
it's
have this
'Cause it
spreadsheet,
says medical, 5 employees, 79, 660, yeah.
yeah,
All right, dental, we said there was no change.
okay. I will check on that number,
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll give you the spreadsheet as well.
okay,
Disability
Dental.
insurance, 4,100, that's good.
dental, we said no change.
No change. Disability is, based on
That's fine, 4,100.
Primex.
Yeah.
Planning board, these were presented by building administrator,
We had no problems with those.
pretty much
Yeah,
flat
Check it
budget.
off, that's flat.
Government buildings, I increased the building maintenance to 200,000.
That's where I like, we came back from 150, if you remember. I think we needed it.
You can see we spent 154,531, and it was a real tight year to try to get important
I
things
think we need
taken
to be
care
there
of.
too.
I think we need a minimum of 200, cause if we're looking at that roof from the fire station,
Yeah,
That's a huge
we have
impact.
signs, we have all kinds of
flat
things
roof for
that
the
we've been-
highway,
highway, we have all kinds of things that we pushed off.
yeah,
So
I
what do
think
you want?
leave it here for now, but I think on our final, we may look at that and bring it to 250.
Let's,
It'll all
yeah,
go back to the taxpayers if we don't use it, but I just,
agreed.
okay.
I
And
know
how
that-
what we do with the surplus? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Well, then, tax rate.
Alright, next account is, mowing for general government buildings. I added 1,000 for other services, I think, at some point we need to look at stone around the buildings or fertilizer for the grass,
do.
That's good.
just to keep it, on top of it. Gas and diesel are pass-through, we might have posted an old year expense from our, deliveries into this calendar year, but we've always budgeted, I did increase it slightly, 1,000 and 2,000 from.
oh, they're in the other departments, so.
Correct. Electric town office, I brought it down a little, for some reason this office is very, very efficient. Even though we're here 5 days a week and many nights, we don't seem to use up a lot of electricity. And that's including the cost that was, we split the solar bill by all 5 buildings, and it's 166 or 188 a month for each building. That plus the regular electrical bill, so town office went down a little bit. Town hall stays the same, unless you want me to bring it up, I know it's all LEDs over there. That's the library, town hall.
You already brought it up a little bit, I think that's fine.
No, I left it flat from last year.
Um,
And it's still, we only used up 2011, but we weren't in the building that much. I think we might be okay with the 3250.
right,
And then
right,
leave it.
yeah,
Electric town, police and fire, they have, I left that flat. They use air conditioning and whatnot over there a lot. Transfer station, I left that flat. He's got a lot of, 220 drawing equipment.
Gonna say,
Highway
he's gonna go
garage.
up with that can crusher.
yeah,
Oh, you think that's gonna, is that a 220 or?
yeah,
Okay, highway garage, I left it flat, 3250. Heating oil, town office, I went up to a 4,000 based on the expenses, giving us a little bit of like one delivery. Oil highway, I increased that as well for an extra delivery. Town hall, we went way over the budget, probably because the doors were open and whatnot, but I increased it to 5,000 since we're gonna be using it more. Police and fire, they always use a lot of oil in their buildings, so I increased that to reflect the expense. LP transfer station, I just increased it slightly for an extra $100.
There's no electric, or you calling the town hall?
Yeah, town hall is electric, I put 5,000 there. I increased it because we really didn't use the building. You're looking at electric or heat?
heat, which we're
Heat
talking
is
about?
oil,
No, I
town
was looking at
hall.
electric, cause the new heating systems are electric in the entryway.
Oh, they are? Do I need to increase that electric? Or the
Well, you
electric
did
flat?
already, that's what I was thinking.
What's the
you did.
flat? It's 3250 and they only
But they only
use
use
2,000.
That's, it's about a third
Yeah,
increase if
so
they use
we-
the full budget.
We'll watch it next year, we'll leave it.
Okay, and then LP for the transfer station, pretty much flat, just went up $100, and then the janitor is based on 52 weeks at 150 a week.
Hey Lean,
Yes,
you see that last line down there for the,
janitor?
no,
the
heating,
heating?
maintenance and repairs?
Yep.
That maintenance could be all of those fees that are in our building.
Okay,
Instead of making a new line, let's use that line for those
okay,
things.
alright,
What I talked to Lean about is putting the monitoring of the town buildings for these security services, instead of in our building maintenance fund, put them on this line. That way there, we're not looking at these fees not adding up on our building maintenance line, 'cause it makes it hard to
So
follow.
just dump those security fees into that line?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
gonna do the security fees and also the fees for the generators come out of that.
so I had done a quick number and it was about 4,700, so I will have to increase that if I'm not gonna touch the building line.
Increased by 5,000.
So I'll do a quick review again.
Yeah, make sure you do the, remember we have, twice
There's
a year, we do the
The
generators.
generators, and then we also do the extinguishers, or the, fire extinguishers.
We
and
do,
other
we do
monitors.
2 generators, right, we do the one there, no, it should just be one.
There's 2 generators, the fire department and the school. We're responsible for the school
We are.
inspection, so. So I'll do a quick crunch, and that line will increase by those inspections.
I'm just gonna put 5s, just so we remember in
Okay,
there now, okay?
5,000?
Yep.
It might have to go up to 6.
It just makes it so hard to track that other number when we're
I'm with you.
getting mixed numbers in there.
I'm with you,
Okay,
that's
gotcha.
not a problem.
I can
Just
do
a
that.
shift of the
So I
numbers.
will probably, yeah, that works on heating, maintenance, and repairs, okay. Next group is cemeteries,
Hey, for a second on back on the janitor one for the town office cleaning.
Yep.
Should we bring that one up just cause cleaning up stairs in the
She brought up
library?
$2,000.
I know, but for the library,
well, they
We
have
know
it,
when
I
we
did
use
ask them
upstairs.
last week, cause I was here when they came in, and I asked them if they'd be interested in giving us a quote, of what, to do the upstairs. And they said they would like to do that, they didn't give me a number, and they haven't been up there.
Before we ask them,
Mhm.
let's make it clean, cause it looks like a lot of work now.
Okay,
I wanna have it all clean,
yeah,
and then we'll ask them to look at it, because
okay, so you
Well,
wanna
for-
bump it up so that it
if you go up there
covers,
now, it looks like it's a,
Disaster.
I mean, we
but it
may
looks like a
only,
huge amount of work.
we
you know?
may only need them once a month, right? It may not be every week.
yeah, I think it'd
The
just be on call,
entryway-
wouldn't it?
No,
The entryway's gonna
that
be,
might be for that top floor, but the entryway will be every week, just like all our entryways.
Oh, okay,
Doesn't bring too much dirt in there. coming in.
I'd say bring it up to 10,000. What do you think? Should I bring that line from 8,000 to 10,000?
then give us well,
Little
yeah, it's
buffer.
150 I don't know that.
You gotta be
they're
careful, cause we're gonna get to the end of this budget, we're gonna cut back.
Oh, yeah, yeah, so what do you wanna do, bring it up to 10?
Bring it to 10 for now.
Ten,
And
$900.
10 for now and then see what they,
Exactly.
see what they say.
Okay, and you're gonna do some cleaning before I send them over there and look?
Yep.
Okay. Cemetery budget was presented by the cemetery trustees, they're pretty much flat budget, do I need to go over any numbers?
No,
Okay. Insurance, property liability, that is, based on what was presented to us, it's a slight increase.
Okay.
And then the insurance other, we always budget $1,000, that's our copay, in case we have a claim, we'll have the money to pay for the deductible. Next department is police department, again, this 341, 342 is based on 5 full-time officers for
Right,
12.
my suggestion here is that, we have, potentially, we drop the, health insurance and dental by 3 months. I'm suggesting that, he brought both of them in as a entry-level one. I suggest we cut at least 2 months out of one of the entry-level ones, in other words, skim $10,000 off the budget salary line.
now Lean, you said they were being brought in at the same step, but if you look at his patrol vacancy,
Yeah, I typed it in there. He put, patrol vacancy 1, former full-time Remillard, would have been at 67, he's requesting 59,920. Vacancy 2, full-time JP, would have been at 67,948, he is requesting 59,
same
thing.
entry
so
level.
59,920 divided by 12 times.
It's basically, it's 5,000 a position a month.
So let's just do it here,
Divide by
59,
12,
920 divided by 12.
it's almost 5,000 a month, 4,993.
Yeah.
Yep.
Times 6 is
Mhm.
29,900, so 30,000 difference.
Right, but out of that, the thing is, I'm gonna defend, the police chief, because if he gets an officer, he can't, if he's an experienced officer who's been through the training, he wants to bring him in, he's gonna have to bring him in at 67 versus 59. And part of that money is gonna have to be used for, he's planning on using some of that money for outfitting, equipment, uniforms, and et cetera, which he hasn't put anywhere in his budget. So I chatted with him earlier this week, and I said, I wanna cut that line, because we have vacancies, and it probably won't be filled for at least, 1 to 2 months, conservatively. And so I propose at least 2 months off one position of 10,000 off the top of his. It would give him enough flexibility where he can, if he has to go up, he can still hire at a higher rate, one of the vacancies. But I think 10,000 would be easily manageable in his budget. I don't wanna kill him, because I wanna give him the flexibility to hire if he finds a good person a good fit for this town.
Dave, you're the selectman's rep, have you talked to him about where he is
It's
with
almost the
his
middle of the month.
hiring?
don't think he-
No, cause he lost that applicant, so we're still out.
I think we could cut it 15, couldn't
He's
we?
on, he's gone
Maybe
now,
1 month
so.
for one of them and 2 months for the second one.
I haven't talked to him in the last 2 weeks about it.
I'd be amenable to that.
What?
I'd be
Maybe
amenable
we
to
could
the
cut
rate,
it 15, we
15.
could go 1 month for one of them and 2 months for the other one.
still give
It's
him a little
almost a-
flexibility.
It's almost
Yeah,
the
but
middle
what-
of January.
What Mike was saying is how the chief brought it to us is, if he has to bring one of the two in at a higher level, he's really bringing these both in at base, but he's gonna use money from one to offset the other one.
Right, so we don't wanna hamstring him, you might say.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we should touch it, but if you
Oh,
wanna
no,
do,
I
if you wanna
think,
do
I
10,
think
do
10,000.
10.
Just drop it by 10,000 then?
Okay. So it'd be
331,
331,
Okay.
342.
42.
And the thing is, I don't think we have to go line by line, he went through all that.
With us, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we had a reason.
So everything here is basically what they've subjected,
Yep,
so we're bringing it down
Sure,
10,000.
say a lot of this is contractual, isn't it?
some of it is, yeah.
So now we're on the next page,
Fire
right?
department,
Yeah, but for the bottom line, police department, we're looking at 532, 310, and you said reduce by 10, right?
right,
Where'd you see that?
all the way at the bottom,
Total, police department, his
Page
numbers
11.
come in at 542, 310,
page 11.
Oh,
oh, page 11.
you're revising those already? Did you
No, you just said, I just wanted to give you a bottom line total. It'll come down to 532, 310.
Okay,
Fire department, the same, they projected, or they presented the budget.
Yeah, that's fine.
He did want me to point out that when someone had questioned why he spent so much money on his equipment line, I think it was, yeah, protection equipment, that was the 10% match that he got from the $55,000 grant, so he ended up buying equipment for 48,000 and change, and he had to contribute like 7 or 8 grand on that.
Where is his grant showing?
That's, unanticipated revenue, it's on a spreadsheet.
So we show some grants and not others?
If you get them in the same calendar year,
When did he request his grant?
I worked on that in May, and I just got the check,
So it's the
This
same
month.
calendar year.
yeah,
What I'm trying to get at, Lean, is how come we're listing some of the ones that the fire, or the police department had as grants on your revenues, but then not the fire department one?
I think we accepted it as unanticipated, didn't we accept the grant at a meeting?
But if we unanticipated revenues or funds,
Mm-hmm.
that's the same as the other grants come in as. That's the reason it's so hard to follow these things when they're not on one budget,
Mm-hmm.
because those revenue sources are listed separately somewhere. But we did the police department ones for all the bikes and the
right,
buzzers and bells and whistles, and not this one.
I guess we just want more granularity, more explanation of the
Okay.
grants,
Okay,
that's all.
We'll just see if you can find a reason for that.
yep, I'll ask this.
There
the
could be a
auditor.
reason for it, I don't know.
Yep, the only thing is, that I can see that could be.
You know, like we got the bridge one,
Yep,
that's out there in Neverland, and this
Yeah.
one here was there but was used.
yep,
The police department ones were there but were used,
yep.
and they're all the same year, and I wanna know why they're accounted for differently.
The bridge one did specifically say you can't commingle with.
Yep,
There are
yep.
some that one, and then the other one that was 89,000 that the highway got,
Yeah,
that one said you can't, it's a non-lapsing fund, so if he didn't use it this year, it would stay in a,
on our final budget, can we get a copy of those ones?
Yep.
Just so we can
yeah,
kind of
the
attach it and
unanticipated
follow
stuff,
them.
yep,
Address them if somebody asks about it.
okay,
We just gotta be knowledgeable, so if we get an inquiry from the public, I wanna be able to address it.
yep,
Yeah, so let's see on this 55 why we didn't, or maybe that was one from a previous year, I don't remember.
I just wanna point out that when John presented his budget, we went up to 131 and the budget reflects to 131, so Lean, you accurately,
Yeah,
captured it, thank you.
that's cause it fluffed up his vehicle maintenance.
Exactly.
So
Okay,
that pump.
What are we on now, crime control?
no, building department,
building department, next page.
page 12.
What'd you guys do, you wrote here,
Well, we didn't,
we didn't finish this.
Mike just said that the fire department's numbers reflect what he presented and what the board changed during his budget
Right,
presentation.
What page are you on?
Page
Page
12,
11
11 and 12.
No, I'm asking Dave.
Well,
Looks like he's on a
No,
different
Dave,
page.
you're way behind, Dave, come on.
office administrator,
That's
That's all police
all
department.
police, that's the
we
notes.
left that. Fire, no, police, yep, that's
Yep.
set, hydrant.
Okay.
Yep.
And building department, they presented a budget,
As
which was
presented.
pretty much flat,
Just wage increases.
Yep,
wages, yeah, and then we had a little slight decrease of the building inspector, admin. Emergency management, that's part of John's budget, a different category, but he asked that we put the $1,000 that, he will use that in the event he has to open up the, community center emergency.
and we did,
Facility.
we did, last year.
Yeah, but there, no, I don't think there were any expenses related to it.
Right, but there could have been,
Yeah, like water or
sure.
other
Okay.
services.
Highway department was presented,
Yep.
and just, I think what Dave pointed out, I just wanna reiterate what you pointed out, Dave, earlier. That every year they always come in for a 100K, warrant, there's no warrant this year.
Nope.
So there was a slight increase for highway, and that was pretty much because of the road salt costs. Road striping went up a little bit,
And then a little bit
and then he
less.
increased some of the payroll for the, wage increase.
Justin, do you wanna talk about the proposal that you were thinking about?
Well, I know at one time we had talked about, you know, Jeff may need another employee just with all the extra roads and stuff, we're acquiring here at town, and are getting built, so just with the budget, we may wanna look into hiring another employee, for the town shed, and acquire, potentially look into getting another, six-wheeler,
I
for,
think,
for some maintenance and,
my own self, I think that the, department head should come to the selectmen in enough advance, you know, to put it in his own budget, this is his budget.
Right,
And I hate to inflate his budget only for the simple fact is, you know, they've gotta do it enough advance that they come to us and put it in their prior year.
Well, the thing is, he does have a line item in there, I think, can I elaborate what you suggested?
yeah,
He's got $35,000 for for a potential, part-timer, which,
that covers road agent and any part-time person he might hire during the summer, or fill in for snow removal and that type of
okay.
thing.
If there's any money left over towards the end of the year, he could target that money to hire.
And that, I think that's what he said, if he hired somebody towards the later part of the year.
That's what we're going for.
I'm just thinking that, not like tomorrow, I'm just thinking that maybe if we look into somebody maybe towards the end of the year, October, or
Oh,
something
yeah,
like that.
so we have 35,000.
That's what we're looking at,
Oh,
You
okay.
know,
last
look-
quarter.
Cause it's the same thing with the trucks, you know, trucks are just as hard to get as, regular pickup trucks, a big six-wheeler. So that'd be about October, I'd say, to get one all set up.
Yeah,
And look into, instead of buying one, maybe just a lease to own.
Some
So,
past
so we don't have a
practice.
huge expense to the town, so we basically just lease to own it, or just in a payment.
And that truck could take delivery January 1st for next year's budget if we had to.
Yeah, we could do that, I mean, it's just an option to look into.
Because
see-
he predicted that we may have a shortfall with plowing.
Yeah, because we have one that
we may, but
individual,
we still have our
Right.
smaller six-wheeler.
Right, but what I'm saying, I think what we're saying is, there's enough flexibility in there, I think it's more point of order that there's enough flexibility in this budget where we can do something in the last quarter.
I just feel like in the last quarter, we can, kinda make the decision at that time, and
good
Yeah.
idea.
when we get a little bit closer and see. Just
And-
with the extra roads we're taking on,
So
we
if,
just accepted that road
Yeah.
last week or the week
so if we
before.
have excess in the winter maintenance line as well, because we lose a plow guy, then that would be
Offset a little
another
bit.
offset.
Okay, I think,
So we'll take a look, we'll have a little bit from each little budget line from,
Yeah.
okay, that's just a point, it was a point to be taken, I think I think we gotta readdress that later in the year.
Yeah, I think it is too, and I think it's something we gotta think about, but I'd like it to,
I don't think it's anything we're gonna do tomorrow, I'm just saying, maybe in the future, we're gonna
No.
look at
So
something in
I
quarter
think
four of this year.
we can accept what he presented as presented. We can
Yeah, I
take-
think this budget can handle that later this year.
Yeah, okay,
So you guys should communicate that to him, because.
I think he did at the previous meeting,
Yeah,
yeah.
we,
Right.
talking all to
I've
us
talked.
about it.
okay.
Okay, good.
Let's go up to transfer station, page 13.
Again,
Waste disposal,
that
When he
was,
presented his budget, we had really no issue with that,
no, I think, where's his tallies?
at the top of page 14.
Pretty minimal with the number of employees he has with the pay increases.
Correct.
the only thing that we would have to fall back on is if the number of hours that he's allocated for each employee is not the maximum, and there might be a little bit of money there. He had requested transfer station, each employee, transfer station.
Well, he asked for more hours.
Part-time budget worksheets. Okay, so, the way it's broken down on the summary sheet, I think I had attached it to his budget worksheet was, employee one, 25 hours, number of weeks, 25 weeks, well, actually, employee one, 50 weeks at 30 hours a week. Employee two, 50 weeks at 30, assuming they're gonna take a week or two off here in the year. Employee two, 50 weeks at 32 hours a week. Employee three, 50 weeks at 30 hours a week, and then employee four, 1, 2, 3, employee three, so we've got all three, one at 30, one at 32, third one at 30, and then the supervisor at 34 hours a week, and then we have the hauler at 6 hours a week, and then, the, fifth employee who comes in during the winter winter months is, 20 weeks at 12 hours a week.
And that's how it's budgeted right now?
That's how it's budgeted, which is the 121,828.
Is it, the question you're asking, I think it's being raised, is that too high? Too many hours?
Yeah, last week, we had two of them that were in the 20s for hours. I don't know if we'll end up using all that. And I hope that with this staff, number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 solid full-time people, that he'll be able to do some rotating, cause he's the fifth person. You know, if somebody wants a Saturday off, well, they, you
That
know,
was the whole idea, so we.
getting a good staff
Over.
and then.
Gentlemen, any thoughts? Dave, you're the liaison there, what's your thought?
I thought we reviewed it pretty closely when he was here, and,
I don't think we have to make any changes this time.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was,
yeah, I think
it seems pretty substantial, but when he had the, when the data was in front of us, when he presented it,
he
it seemed.
finally has a full workforce support, guy hasn't had it in 5
Oh,
years, I
yeah.
think.
And that will help reduce his overtime
Yeah.
too, so
Oh,
he'll be
yeah.
able to take his leave.
Should we look at the, MSW numbers just based on,
I think,
pushing that contract up? Should we increase that a couple thousand?
I think there's enough slop in the rest of his budget to suck it up, to be honest with you.
This
Okay,
is,
so
yeah,
just leave it.
and this is the number that he had projected in the worksheet.
Yeah, I think
based
what he
on
was
what you
saying is
thought
that
you
the
were
new
going to.
30-day thing
Right.
is gonna chew a few thousand up, but if he has
But
less
I think
hours
he
for his
projected
guys.
quite a few extra tonnage,
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
as a fluff factor
I'd
anyway,
say-
so I
I'd
guess
say-
that should be fine.
accept it as presented.
Okay.
And just so you guys know that, well, you guys know, but for the public, that department could have come out substantially higher if we did not get that, MSW price down there.
Well, I think it's more than, I
Being
wanna,
able to go to regional, Concord Regional. is
right,
really
what,
helpful.
for the public, they should understand that, Mr. Woody Bound stepped up to the plate, saw a major price increase for where we've taken our major trash, and aggressively sought out other bids from other people. And we're switching where we, take our trash and recycling, and, demo trash and regular trash. And he's saving the town, it's going up, there's no doubt about it, but he's saving the town a significant amount of dollars.
Yeah, and this new company is actually allowing us to be flat for that,
Yeah, we're completely
MSW.
flat with the two companies.
Right.
Yep.
So, I just wanna publicly acknowledge that he did a lot of hard work, and I appreciate it, and I think the town should appreciate it. Okay? All right,
Next.
welfare,
flat budget, except for the,
Good.
salary wage increase, so it's just a slight increase of about $400.
and rec,
Parks and Rec asked for $1,000, I plugged that in there,
Okay.
so holding number. Old Home Day asked for a flat budget. Fireworks display, we kept $1 in there in case you wanna move money in there. Memorial Day is for the service, the band that we hire every year, so that's pretty much a flat budget. Library, she actually came in this week again, she said they crunched some numbers and there was a slight increase over what she had presented the second time.
what
So
was it,
that is-
where was the increase?
It's on your paper right there, it's just like a couple $100, it's the good number, 127.55, when you get to the mailbox, you'll see that worksheet that she gave us.
Okay,
And then I've now had to add the bond payment, that scheduled payment, one was scheduled in, January, which we've already paid for about $34,000, and the remainder will be due in, August. That's $179,769 is our contractual bond payment for 2023. And then the KTFCA asked for $1,000, created an account at the bottom of the budget.
And just for the record, Dave, Lean has uncovered some additional money, additional accounts that we, there are 2 KTFC accounts, and there's an extra surplus money hanging around. And I think that we gotta alert these committee members,
How much did you find?
about 14, how much?
In with the, capital reserve funds is a KTFCA maintenance account, it has $16,007.
Yeah, that's from their cutting their where,
No, that's in a different account.
That's a
The one
different
that's
account.
held by the treasurer has,
Should be
14,000.
11,000, oh, I put it on here. It's this one here, 11,307. This is the cut. So when I did some digging, because the time lapses and my memory's going, in 2011, I wrote to Ed White, who was the chairman of the KTFCA, that, Natalie Brown Trust had gifted 300 shares of DuPont stock worth $47 apiece to the KTFCA. And then, when the new number, this was in 2011, when the numbers finally came in 2012, they actually ended up being $14,785, which we deposited into a capital reserve fund to hold. But they can withdraw that money at a vote.
I got a meeting Monday night, you want, give me a copy of them?
You have this in your packet.
You have it in your packet.
You have this emails back to back, and then the GL for the timber cut is in the back. And
I don't
then
think I have
you
it.
have,
Yeah, it's right
it's
there.
with, it's
Sorry.
with this,
It's that black one.
This one?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
okay?
The email's on the back.
So if anything, they ought to put a warrant article to withdraw like $2,000 or $3,000 from this. So that they can spend it on
Maintenance or
maintenance.
mowing and all that kinda good stuff.
I did put 1,000 in our budget, but that's something for you to think about.
Cause they just gave me a budget number of what they had in there at the last meeting. And it was $14,000, and how's this one at 11, and that one's at,
I just reconciled, I did a lot of numbers crunching because you guys pointed out that I missed the
the
rooms
11
meal.
is right?
And the 11 is right, December of 22.
Okay, so the thing is, if you take that for action, Dave, it'd be great.
Yeah.
So we could actually, maybe not necessarily take that 1,000 and take it out of a budget, it's a minuscule amount, but I think there's money to be used. I think,
Okay.
to make an analogy, cemetery found some money and they put it to good use, and so, there's other departments can put it to good use. Go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, but I think the argument was that the town's supposed to be responsible for maintaining that property. And that was the argument, that's why they came in to ask the town to
Right.
take it back and start funding.
And one thing like Leo's saying I'm worried about is, if this group's not here, you have another group up
Right.
here, and they're like the prior groups, and they take it away from them altogether, they have to fund that somehow. Jeff gave us some alternative ways, but it's like stealing from Paul,
Yeah,
you know?
I think we should still have money devoted to that. If the town's taking the land
Yeah.
over as a piece of property, we should still.
I think we should leave it
Money
funded
to
at 1,000, if it goes back as excess revenues, cause they're using.
Oh,
other funds.
agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just leave
it's
it.
minimal,
Yeah.
it's minimal.
That way there, we won't have to worry about that line item
Yeah,
being,
well, as you
placeholder,
said, Dave, and then in the future, if they spend that money down, and then they need money, and the other select board says, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
We
they-
set up, we
Yeah,
set a
the
precedent
town
of
is,
funding
the
it.
town is responsible, so you should leave it that way, so that way the future select board will know that, you know?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yep, we still have to move forward.
alright, so do we wanna go to the bottom line total
Yeah.
increase? And
Yeah.
if you go to this.
Where are you at now?
Last page.
15?
Yeah, last page is
You gonna
bond,
take all the deducts out that we have in here?
I haven't, but that's based on the numbers that you have there, and I will make, what did we reduce, just 10,000 on one? and-
10,000 on
And you
one,
gotta, you just look at healthcare.
And I have to look at healthcare, health trust,
and we went from 112 to 105, so what's that difference?
that's $7,000.
I'll give you the difference right now, 'cause it's only 3 lines, Lean.
And then retirement, 163,
174,
215,
191,
215,
minus
we just keep the, medical where she budgeted at this point. So, I mean, she's gonna look at the medical, but I wouldn't change the budget,
That's what,
and just take the 10 grand off. So what are you doing, Dave?
I'm just adding up here, we've got, this was a savings when we did this one, the retirement at 10,002.
Right.
And then we've got 7189 down on the, health insurance.
No, we're gonna hold off on that until she
yeah,
gives us.
she's gonna clarify that.
I wouldn't do anything on health insurance at this point.
Oh, I did it.
And then 10,000 on PD, and that was
10,000
it?
PD. And we went up on, remember we went up on the janitor for maintenance?
Oh, that's right.
We went up
There's a few-
15,000 there.
No, we went up to
2,000.
1,900.
No, cause under heating and maintenance, we put 5,000, and we brought up the other one 8,100 to 10,000, so we spent 7,100
Which
there.
one did we bring up to 5,000?
It was the,
We brought up
Generator maintenance, no.
heating and maintenance, remember for the.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's a wash, because it's coming out of another line.
no, because
No.
that came out of building
Yes, we did.
maintenance and I'm not reducing it.
Ah, right,
So that
okay.
is
So it
gonna
actually
go
went up
in.
4,000, so
Four, okay,
4,000 and
10,
10
you know, it's 19.
1,900, yeah, so 5,900. That went up, so there goes all our savings.
I'll crunch the
Just use the
numbers.
budget you have at the end here, 'cause
Okay,
almost a
so
wash.
just
It's a shout, it's a shout, yeah.
The new numbers came in with, including the bond, and all the requests originally were at $3,232,10.
Okay,
The last year's budget was $2,784,297, that's an increase of $447,713, or 16% increase.
There goes a 22% increase we saved last year.
16%, yeah.
So you took,
Take the new, subtract the old, take the difference, divide by the old, and then you multiply by 1,000.
you took 32,
Yep,
Divided by
32.
2.7, 2.7, no, it's 1 point, it's a 16%. I got the same thing.
You're doing our actual budget, not
the
the
actual,
actual.
I'll have to adjust the numbers, so it'll probably come down.
Are you doing the budget or the actual though?
So you have to take the budget to
Right, so
figure out
minus
what
the
it is,
budget.
yeah,
2784,
16.
297, 447.
713. And you take that and divide it into the old,
You divide into the old, you're using the budget again, right?
yeah, you take the 447,713, divide into the 2784297, and you have .6160,
7,992.
which is almost actually 17%, but.
No,
No,
The-
0.1607,
16.
so,
16%, it's close to 16 than 7.
yeah.
Yeah.
0.1607, so it's really,
Yeah, and then you multiply by 1,000. Is it 1,000 or 100?
100.
100.
how about we just do it by 10?
You drop the
It'll
other
sound
one.
good if you do it by 1,000,
It does.
1.6%.
Yeah, yeah, it's 100.
Alright,
Alright, so we know where we're at, and I did not print the budget warrants, but I have them
So
here.
the warrant article's gotta be skinny.
well,
Okay.
the thing is, already, there's 100 grand less. You gotta look at it that way, right?
And I did not give you them, so I have them right here.
You gotta look at $160 or $170,000 or some bond in
Right, no, that's what I'm saying, it's in
there, you
there.
know, so it's not that much off if you look at it that
No.
way.
No, that's a good way of looking at it.
Not even 10%.
This is the draft warrant, we've asked.
It's basically the wage.
Yeah. I'll take it back, all the wages we gave to everybody.
We can skip page 1, that's just your officers,
Okay.
Paul Greaves, and the operating budget, which is not ready yet. Move on to page 2.
Got it?
We have an Article 4, the typical $14,000 deposit into the capital reserve. And in the event you wanna look at what the balance is, I gave you a summary sheet of the December capital reserve statements. Right now, we have 76,585 in reval, and we're scheduled to have another reval in 2025.
Self-explanatory, go on to 5.
What
Okay,
page you have that on?
Page
Lee?
2.
the one that, it's the dark one with the thing.
This dark one here.
Yeah, see, revaluation capital reserves, like 5 from the top, 76,585.
There's 76,000, and we keep putting 14,
Yeah, because we have to pay the utility appraiser $50,000 in a reval year, and then the remainder is the, pickups.
and how many times you have the reval years?
Mandatory every 5 years,
You know,
and we're scheduled for
it's not under
2025.
that. It was under. It was like the bottom sheet
Okay.
in your file.
So take the 50 out of the 76, what's the balance used for?
Pickups,
Bigger
reval.
How much?
Last
was
year,
that?
we really got, last reval, we really, MRI won the bid, and it was like at 28.
How
The
much
year-
do the pickups generally run?
Typically about 70,000, just for the regular residential, not including the utility appraiser.
No, every year, how much do the pickups run?
How much do they run?
They don't run 70,000.
Oh, no, that's for regular building permit, picking up increasing your,
Valuations.
assessments, your valuations. That runs about 10 to 16,000 a year,
Okay, so.
but it doesn't come out of this.
This is just for the,
This is for a statistical or mandated
town
So the
or.
reevaluation,
revaluation,
so it's at 76,000,
yeah,
when's the last time we had one?
2020, and we applied the rates, the new values in 2021, I think.
And you say we're gonna need 50,000,
For just the utility appraiser,
yeah,
and then the remainder will be the, for the regular pickup. And we're hoping this 14,000, we've been earmarking 10,000 a year for reval and 4,000 for the utility appraiser. That's where that number kinda came up with. Originally, the contract was written to pay him, and we.
I know, what I'm trying, I understand the 50,
Mhm.
okay? So what I'm trying to find out is how much a year the rest of that cost typically.
Of this balance here, it's not gonna be enough. In 2024, when they put it out to bid, we'll be able to tell if there's enough in this capital reserve.
In other words, the purpose of it is to create a fund so we don't get a major spike in the
I
tax rate.
understand it,
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's the point though? What are you asking?
cause somebody can tell me right now that 50,000 every 5 years is for the utility portion, but I haven't heard a number yet on the other part.
We don't have
And we
any.
have to put it out to bid every
Yeah.
How
time.
much was it last time is what I.
Last time was 28,000, which was
Okay,
unbelievably low.
okay, that's what I wanted to know.
And the reval before that, it was like 69,000. So it depleted a lot of our capital reserve that time.
Okay,
But we lucked out with the company that does our pickups, was familiar with the town, and they gave us low bid. So we're okay with the
We go
Article
forward?
4?
Yes.
Article 5, transfer station, they currently have 37,790. We've been earmarking, kinda reduced it a few years back, and trying to keep it, something going in there, we put 10,000, do you wanna increase it?
no,
No.
I wanna
Okay.
bring it down to 5,
For real?
yes,
Why?
I'll tell you when we get to it.
Well, we're there.
I'm gonna try and shift some to the fire department.
Okay.
We've done this other years.
Right.
Lower different
But
departments.
this
that are
was
using it.
20,000 in the past,
I know,
okay, so you wanna bring it down to 5?
I can't think of anything they need to replace down there right now.
No, the truck's been rehabbed.
Yeah, and he's got a new truck.
Yeah, The next thing he said was
Thought he
a
had talked
skid
about a
steer,
skid steer.
but we're gonna make that go a little longer.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
so
having some electrical issues with it.
Yeah, that's alright.
we can bring that down to 5,
Yep. Because it's,
okay? Fire department, currently they have 283,314,
I'd like to do the other ones first.
and go back to that one, okay?
what's the problem? What?
You said there was 283, I thought there was almost 400 when he was in here.
No, that's 283 is right.
Okay.
And that's with all expenses taken out. So the next article is new, you guys asked me to see if, to write up, and I had the attorney review this one, or give us the language, to see if the town will vote to appoint the selectmen as agents to expend from the existing fire department, emergency vehicle capital reserve fund previously established in 2014, and you'll have to talk on it.
Right,
Yeah.
Keep it
That's-
simple and you explain
Now,
that.
do we don't wanna put in there to either purchase or use one, or lease a.
that's
Well,
what
you
we're gonna, how
have
we're
to-
gonna explain it.
You would have the authority to do it, if you can expend, you're good. If you decide to buy a used one, you're good, if you decide to lease it with option,
We
you're
want one of
good.
those 5-year Connecticut ones. Remember you said?
Half price, 5-year
Half price, you get
Connecticut
it.
ones.
Yeah,
Alright,
Number 8. That is, police vehicle equipment capital reserve deposit. We typically do $10,000, they currently have 11,248. When, this past, September, August, September, the board made a motion to accept the proceeds from the sale of the police cruiser that was brought to the auction. That dollar amount was $2,925, and you guys said you would earmark it towards the purchase of a new capital reserve, or new vehicle, and I think we have to go this route first, put it in the capital reserve, because the next one is to withdraw it.
it says this sum would be prioration,
proration.
That's spelled wrong. This sum would be
Just trying to figure that out too.
what was I trying to say here? This sum would be, to be offset, prorated? No,
No,
I think I just need to take that word out. This sum would be,
offset.
used with,
should be offset with unassigned fund balance.
You got would be in there twice.
yeah,
This sum
Oh.
would be,
Oh, that's what happened there, okay.
get rid of
The sum-
prioration,
Yeah, this sum would be offset with the unassigned fund balance of $2,925, with the
Right.
remaining $10,000
That's right.
come from taxation.
that's good.
Because we're actually,
no,
He's asking for 12,9, yes, it's,
we're taking 3,000 from surplus, and we're asking the taxpayers to fund 10,000 from taxes.
right.
To
You-
deposit into the capital reserve.
no,
What
No?
did you see?
no, you got it confused.
Okay.
This
You
sum,
said you read his proposal to us today,
Mhm.
so he wants to use that 2925 on the new vehicle, right?
Right, but what if it fails? You still have $3,000 you need to put into his account. 29.25.
It'll stay in the unassigned balance fund until he uses it.
Oh, that would go away, trust me. What he asked you is to, take the proceeds and put it into his capital reserve is what he asked. And the board said that you would earmark it for his capital reserve.
normally we would've put just $10,000 in his capital reserve regardless. So
Right.
I
basically,
think that these need to be two separate ones myself. I don't think you wanna word this as one. Because one of them, you're putting the $10,000 in his capital reserve fund, correct?
With the 29.25, so it's actually 12,925. We're just gonna
Yeah.
use 2,925 from the surplus, and then the rest is from
and
taxes.
as he explains it, whether that 29,925, we sold the crappy vehicle we had, and then we got $2,900.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking.
If you look at how he proposed it,
Mhm.
he wasn't using this current year for the new vehicle. In case that failed, the capital reserve failed, he didn't use this new year.
I think
Read his
that's,
last paragraph on what he was looking for.
and, okay, I sent him an email. Inbox.
He was using the balance out here, but he wasn't using this year. I didn't know why he wasn't, but he wasn't.
In other words, he didn't wanna use the 10,000,
Yeah, so that's why I don't wanna mix that 29 in there with it, Mike, because
so he just wants you to add the 29. I got it, okay.
the 29 was to be used,
Towards the purchase of the vehicle, a new vehicle this year.
Yeah, there were actually two sales in his department last year that he's trying to put towards it, one was the green car,
Right,
which
One
is
was the Crown
$29.25,
Vic,
right.
and the other one is this coming year's projecting, I said I can't use that money because he's saying it's worth $8,000, but we don't have the money yet.
wasn't there another one, we did the Crown Vic and we did the green car?
Nope,
Yeah, we did. One went to the
The
auction.
Crown Vic went to,
auction.
no, it went.
no, it went to
No,
the
it went to the
junkyard,
junkyard
it went to
Yeah,
the,
Rita's email, he wants to use that money.
with a minute, small amount, but it was, I don't remember the amount.
$400 or something like that, or $500. That's
It was
what we
like
got,
800.
oh, yes, you're right,
It's in the email there.
okay.
All right, can we, skip that, we'll come, these have to be clarified. I'd rather get some information from that email.
Well, I did send, I said, I'm having a problem understanding your numbers, and this is what I gave him, is what you're looking at right here. I said, accept, this is your motion, October 27th, motion by Dave Knoll, second by Justin Knoll, to accept the proceeds from the sale of the town vehicle through auction in the amount of $29.25 after fees. Discussion, Mike noted that police, Chief Rumrod has requested this amount to be penciled in to count towards the next vehicle when they are looking to purchase. It will go into the general fund, but will be slated for that purpose, and you voted on it. So we have the $29.25.
So if you look at how he's funding his vehicle,
The second, number 9.
That's the next one. So the problem is, Dave, what if that number 9 fails? You're
Yeah, so that's
saying-
why he's saying separate it, that's why he's saying.
That's why I'm separating them.
No, he says separate the 29 and the 10, is that what you're saying, Dave?
yeah, because he's,
No,
the
he
10
and I-
he's using is out of the capital reserve that's already there. See, in your capital reserve list is 11,207.91.
yeah,
He's using 10,000 out of there.
are we gonna deposit 10?
We are, but he didn't ask us to use that
He
10.
did, because his response is here. I apologize for any confusion, I'm trying to keep the cost down by utilizing multiple funds source, which would have been the 8,000 from this year's sale, and I said, you can't use that. He said, yes, the 11,117 figure includes labor for, equipping the new one with the old parts. And he said the warrant article of the capital reserve fund deposit looks good, and that is correct, we do not have the $8,000, and that will be recuperated after we sell the 2017 SUV at auction. And he said maybe it would, I can just speak to the fact that this auction sale will go into the general fund, and, so there was ultimately money coming back to the town. So what we have to ask from the taxpayers is $28,792, he's hoping to get around 8,000 from the sale of the other vehicle. So he agreed with this language here.
Cause if you look at the next warrant, it's saying taking the 12,925 out of that.
She wrote that.
Right, but we're following the same thing that you did last year, we put 10,000 in, and then when we bought the car, we took 10,000 out. But just for the sake of this, discussion, if Article 9 fails, the 2,900, what is it, 2,925 will stay in his capital reserve for the next time he approaches the
Right,
purchase.
Lean, what you're doing is you're using the 12, right, from this year. Then you're using $12,000 from the revolving fund. But you haven't used the 11,207.
Oh, no, there's two funds there, Dave, that's what I'm sorry. The second 12,000 is a special duty revolving fund that the treasurer holds.
I know, I've seen that.
Okay,
So you're still leaving $10,000 in the fund right here.
That's right.
It's there now.
yeah. That's exactly what we did last year. We started with 10,000, we deposited 10, and we withdrew 10.
If this goes to town meeting the way you have it,
Mhm.
you could use this 10 plus the 10 out of here.
Oh,
So
you wanna spend
You'd be at
down,
$18,000 left for the car.
okay, you wanna withdraw everything.
No,
It'd
just-
be 18,000 coming from
he
taxation.
didn't ask us to, but you're taking it wrong.
No?
When you read his email,
Mhm.
and I read the thing from top to bottom, he funded that, if you look at his funding and go down through it, he was taking 10 out of this account, cause it's existing, right now.
Okay,
And then he was taking that $12,000 from that revolving account. Plus he was using that 2925 that you were talking about. And plus he talked about the $8,000 later. But what he didn't do
Let's take an extra.
is talk about using the capital reserve that would be put in at this town meeting.
So that would
He
lower
was
it,
using it out of this, not
it would take it to bring it to 18.
yes, that's right, but what I would like to do is separate these two, because he's not asking to use it off of this warrant article, he's asking to pull it out of this fund.
Okay, I've got his sheet right here, I'm just printing the one page,
Yeah,
so.
Alright, so
you can
Dave, I wanna know
read-
what you're proposing then.
well, when he gets back and we can talk to it, we can ask him if he wants to use both
The entire fund.
yeah, or leave the 10,000 in there, cause what I think he's trying to do is the 10,000 that's gonna go in there this year,
Right,
is to have it for the very next vehicle and not use it.
right, so he wants to basically collect 28 out of this, wherever it comes from. So we just wanna make eight A and eight B cleaner. In other words, what you wanna do is separate the 3,000, the 2,900.
I think it should be.
Okay, you see what he's trying to do?
I've got the
What-
sheet right here, and
What's the difference? I don't understand.
There
You're
is
still
no
depositing-
difference.
It just makes it clear to the
There is no
voter.
difference, it's clear to the voter. He has this amount in his fund already, which he can use legally right now,
Yeah.
Right.
okay? For that vehicle. The other one hasn't been voted on yet, so,
Oh, no, I think you're wrong, Dave, he says the repurposing the equipment is 11,117, happens to be this, almost the same number here.
no. He only took 10 out of it.
Okay, this is his breakdown. I'll let you read it. And I can give you another copy, Mike. This one's the wrong page.
Alright, that's fine, that's fine. I'll read that.
Um,
Hey Dave, he's getting creative.
He is, and I like that part.
Yeah,
Okay, this is what he was proposing for funding.
okay.
Okay, at the top of that page, we propose to utilize the funds to purchase the vehicle. Special duty fund, 12,000.
Got it.
That's from the treasurer.
Which we
yeah.
got, yeah. Capital reserve fund of 10,000,
Yep,
From last year's deposit.
yes.
okay,
Okay.
alright,
Follow that, so that's
Yeah.
what's in his account, just taking 10 out, leaving the balance, okay?
Okay.
Then money received from the Taurus, which is the 2925, which we'll put on a separate warrant article,
Alright, okay,
alright? And then unit 3 auction of $8,000, which you told him he couldn't do
correct.
unless he spoke to, which he could do.
Oh, no, you can't spend that,
because we don't have it yet.
I
You don't
know,
have it yet.
so you talked to him about it,
okay,
I'm with you.
okay,
Alright, but nowhere did he say anything about this year's capital reserve fund.
You wanna use this
Keep it
year's,
separate.
keep
Keep it
completely
clean.
separate
Because what I think he wants to do is use this year's capital reserve fund
for
to
future
put back in
purchases.
there, because
He doesn't
every
wanna go
two,
down to zero, he wants to keep a little in the
cause every 2 years the
okay,
car will
so
come
you're
up
gonna
in this
use
fund.
10 from the 11,000 is there.
Yeah, which is what the chief asked for.
So this does not talk about the capital reserve deposit,
That's right, and
right,
so we'll do that separate at
Right.
10.
and, okay, so.
Not changing the number at all.
I understand that, so he wants to use the 2925, but
So
what
do a
what if
separate
this,
warrant
what if
article.
this article, what if somebody says they don't vote for that car?
If he doesn't vote for that car,
Okay, he doesn't get a car.
That's right, but where's the 2925 go?
It goes into his, we're
It
gonna,
stays in surplus,
it
because
stays in
you did-
surplus, or we can move it from the unassigned balance to his capital
I don't
reserve.
know why you're so worried about moving from surplus, there's all kinds of different money sitting in surplus.
No, I'm just saying that you guys made a motion to give
Right,
him that
did
money,
we-
so I thought you put the money in first, and then you take it
Right.
back out like
But
you
the
did
thing
last
is,
year.
what we can do is just,
Sit back and watch it.
I just wanna keep it clean.
two separate motions, one for 10,000, normal, capital reserve deposit.
Deposit,
Yeah.
okay,
Then we're going, the selectmen, basically, there's $3,000.
Do the 2925 separate.
Separate, same sort of language, but do it separate.
okay, so,
And then when you come to warrant article number 9,
yeah,
you get the 53,000, and then use the 12,925, like he said, from the capital reserve fund,
yeah,
for the equipment,
So the Article 8 is gonna be strictly 10,000 deposit from taxes?
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, and then,
Article 8A, we're gonna have to change the numbers, will be just $2,925
And you're just gonna say that's from unassigned fund balance,
from the sale, and the thing
from the
is,
sale of the,
right, we can
but
talk to.
aren't you taking,
old,
so there's gonna be three pieces to this.
Correct,
Yeah,
There's going to be the 53,000 base, the price,
right,
10,000 from capital reserve, 2,925 from surplus,
no,
12,000
that'll
from.
that'll be in the capital reserve.
That's what I just said.
Okay,
Can I just, let me get
Yeah,
through the whole
okay.
thing. 53,000 is the total.
yeah,
gotcha,
We're taking 10,000 out of the capital reserve, yes?
yes,
yes,
Okay, we are taking 12,000 from the special duty funds,
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
And then we're also taking 2,925 from surplus.
yes,
So all three pieces will come out of here.
you know, we don't have to move the 2925 out of, capital reserve fund, we can just keep it a surplus and we can talk to it.
The whole point is that if
yeah,
Article
but if
9
it gets voted
fails,
down,
if Article 9 fails, the 2925 does not make it into his capital reserve. That's the only reason why I wrote it that way.
Then we can have a separate, you can, then, to avoid that, we can have a separate article just for the 2925.
Why would you do separate? You do it with the $10,000.
cause it's too confusing.
We've done that numerous times. Woody's had stuff where he, wanted, to purchase something and he had to take some from surplus or deposit.
yeah, but the only other thing too is, what if somebody doesn't like the idea of putting the 10,000 in to that?
Oh,
Fund.
that's
And so-
usually a penny or two. It doesn't,
I know, but I'm
Right.
just saying,
No,
well, it could go,
looking at all the other increases across the town, and someone says, I don't wanna put 10 more thousand to the fund this year. But, okay, I'm gonna put the 2925 because that was a sale from an old vehicle, so I'm gonna vote yes on this warrant article and no on the 10,000. So keep them
I'm with you,
separate.
sent the opinion, I think it's 10,000, such a small amount, I think, that's as part of a capital reserve, all we're doing is adding $3,000 to it, it's a normal capital reserve fund, it's like saying, alright, I'm not
So
gonna.
why separate it, then why
I
do
don't
we just
think
go
we should-
around circles then?
right, I don't think we should be separating it personally, but,
I do, cause I think it's clear.
Alright, we're gonna put this to vote,
okay.
I make a proposal that we keep it the way it is. Justin?
I think it should just stay the way it is.
Okay,
I disagree with both of
Okay.
you.
I agree with Justin, overruled, leave it the way it is, Lean, and let's move on.
You're essentially doing the same thing, but if Article 9 fails, that $2,925 will now be increasing his capital
It'll
reserve.
be in his
It's
fund.
not gonna be in the surplus.
Got it,
And we've already said that we would earmark it for a vehicle.
and we're doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright,
Like Mike said, you can also do it right in order article number 9, which is what we normally do.
But if it gets voted down,
he's still gonna
it's
have the
still
money,
going to
It stays in surplus.
stays,
it stays in surplus, but
All
this
kinds
would,
of money stays in surplus, you don't have to worry about
okay.
that.
Alright, I think
That's
we're,
correct, money
alright,
floats in there all the
we're
time.
good, we're good.
and this miscellaneous
Alright,
spreadsheet,
we're overkilling this, we're
Yeah.
overkilling this. Article 10, Lean,
Article 10 is, I spoke to Jeff briefly about it, last year was 20,000, he's asked for 25, his, balance as of today is $45,098.60.
I think that's reasonable, gentlemen. Dave,
yep,
comment?
You okay with increasing it 5,000, or you wanna leave it at last?
No, that's all right.
11,
11 is, you've been talking about this one, Dave, you're gonna speak on this one, this is new. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of, a number, to be added to the land purchase capital reserve fund established in 1997 for this purpose, and this sum to come from taxation in 2023. And if you look at your capital reserve, land purchase, we currently have 47,471.
Lee and I talked about this today, Mike.
yeah,
You had proposed that we add money to that fund,
right,
so, I wasn't looking for a large amount of money, because I think, my thought is $50,000 is a pretty substantial deposit, we already have almost that.
alright, you can knock that, okay.
We
So-
can make that go away, I just wanted it to come up for
Right,
discussion.
so she put that in there more for you, Mike,
Okay.
than me, but
But let's
I
get
would
to
think
it.
that we should have at least 50,000 there, so you wanna go to 5 on that, I'm happy with that.
Alright, I can do it 5. But the thing is, I'm more concerned about the next warrant. Strike number 11 to 5, consensus?
11 to 5, somewhere on page.
Warrant 11, strike it to 5. It brings up to 50,000, okay?
Yes.
And I think anything over 50,000 deposit should go to town meeting anyway.
Alright. And number 12, that's what I'm concerned with.
Alright, so this I sent to you in the end there, Dave, I didn't know if you had any changes to that,
I didn't see this before I came,
okay, I had sent you the
to
draft.
see if the town will vote to authorize the board of selectmen to act as agents to expend funds from the land purchase capital reserve fund established in 1997 for this purpose. That doesn't make sense for this purpose.
That's the way it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
The authorization would allow the board to put a deposit or purchase a property within the village or medium district, that could be used for public purposes. This authorization would remain in effect until such time it is rescinded. By controlling the amount that's in that capital reserve fund is how you control a selectman. And I made sure I told Lean I did not want to attach it to that blanket RSA that gives the selectmen the authorization to buy, sell, swap, and
Alright.
trade.
The only thing I take, I think it was insulted last week, and I wasn't personally, but I was insulted last week in saying that I have a $100,000 piece of property, I put $10,000 down. For some reason, I can't, the voters say, Selectmen, you're all washed up, we're not gonna vote for it. I lose my $10,000. I think it's irresponsible for the board to put, yeah, it's gotta be a refundable deposit. We cannot put a deposit blindly on any piece of property that we like, and then the voters say, screw you, we're not gonna do it. I cannot tolerate putting the town at risk for any amount of deposit that's not refundable. And you say, well, you were joking last week and saying that, well, then you're not so kind, Mike. Well, if I came here and I'm the son of my parents who were here and they deceased, I'm trying to liquidate the estate, they wanted me to give it to the town, I just wanna get rid of it, it's a nice piece of property. I'm not gonna wait a freaking year for this to close, to wait on town meeting to get, within 6 months, I wanna be done with it. And so,
But that's you, some other people might want to.
right, but the thing is, I can't.
So you're only insulting yourself, not anybody else.
Fine, but the thing is, I can't afford, the thing is, one person, we can put a deposit, and then if something changes where the voting body says no, we just screw the town out of $10,000.
Well, you haven't screwed. Now, deposits go two ways. Some are non-refundable and some are refundable.
Well, then I would like to put just a word in there, I would support that motion can put a refundable deposit or purchase property, but it's gotta be a refundable deposit, I cannot put the town at risk. I think it's irresponsible for any board to throw out $10,000 on a piece of property, and then the voters say, no, we're not gonna buy it, and then we're out 10,000, 12,000, whatever the deposit is. Usually deposits can be 10%, usually most sellers like to see 10%, 5 to 10% deposit. I'm concerned about that, I just don't, I feel uncomfortable. And I'm open for comments if anyone, even for the public here, if anyone's got a comment on that one.
So, the RSA that we don't wanna use to
Yeah.
buy or sell land is the 4114A.
And I agree with Dave, it
And
puts.
it's very complicated, there's a lot of public hearings and everything else, and it's failed numerous times, so Dave is thinking that maybe we can word it so that we have authority for specifically to this capital reserve, where the only way you can spend it today is at town meeting, and his argument is the same as what John Wigan was saying. If he wants to buy a used engine that's new, would be new for us, but 5 years old, we can't, we'll miss the opportunity because we have to do it at town meeting, and that's the way this capital reserve is set up. So I think what he's hoping, what he's trying to accomplish here is to have the board have the authority to withdraw from here to make that deposit.
Right, and I didn't want it to be blanket, because if you look at this, RSA 41:14-A, it gives too much authority, I think, to the select body here.
Well, the only thing that would prevent us, we could sell stuff easily, but to buy stuff, we don't have the money, can't buy anything. Leo, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll comment on what you're saying. If it's non-refundable, you could do this every year, every other year, losing $50, $40, $30,000 every time you're looking at a piece of property, because you have to wait so long, and, you know what I'm saying? So maybe refundable would be the way to go, you know, because,
And that's the only word I'm getting there. If someone is a nice benefactor, they're gonna sign, oh, refundable, no problem.
well,
You
my point is,
always try as a buyer to get a refundable
right,
deposit, okay?
yeah, of course.
And a lot of times the courts will back you on that. But sometimes there's some people that will only do a non-refundable deposit, and that way if the town doesn't vote and you do lose it. But they've also, listen to me, hear me out, they've also held their land up for 6 months or a year,
Yeah, I agree.
waiting for that decision. And what a deposit does, is it pays them for the fact
Yeah,
that they might have lost market value.
I understand all of that, I know how that works, but my point is still that,
People on video might not.
my point is still that you could go through this every year
You can
for
only
3 or
spend
4
what's in that
years.
account though, Leo.
Excuse me?
You can only spend what's in that account.
Okay, so you just blew it all, and now you got nothing to play with.
You could have that happen.
Exactly, so maybe it's
So then
okay
what would you
that,
have to do? You'd have to go back to the voters to fund it
but
again.
maybe it's better then that you lost the deal because you just can't make it. You understand? You
That
just-
has happened.
Yeah, right, so maybe it's a better way to save that money, you saved yourself 50,000, you say, I guess I can't put that deposit down because we can't wait till March, you don't wanna wait till March, so I guess we're out of it. Out of that, out of the pursuit of that
And you can't have a
property.
special town meeting for purchases.
No.
And that's,
Can I ask a question about that? How would that, let's say you could get the land for 50,000, someone just wanted to be real generous and give you a decent
Well, you
lot.
did put in their purchase, so that.
Right, but that, this wording would cover both.
yes,
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be now a deposit, but we could get a piece of land for 50,000, we have the money, we can, with an agreement,
correct.
Or if there's more in there.
yeah.
But that's why I didn't wanna put much in there, cause I think, to be honest, 50,000 is enough if people don't wanna hold it up till town meeting with $50,000 deposit. I don't
Right.
think
The only thing
more
is,
than that should be.
I'd be very comfortable if you put refundable. And the thing is, if someone is gonna give us below market value, let's say, they're gonna go 50, refundable, no problem, he's already given us a nice piece of property, let's say.
Well, you're worried about below market value, that's not necessarily.
Well,
the case.
even market value, but the thing is, if they're willing to, take our deposit, they're willing to take the risk, the voters will turn it down. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you might buy some time to see if you can work out a deal, you see, if you have a refundable, deposit, you can still maybe work out a deal with that sales, you know, for that sales. So you might even find a benefactor to help to continue the sale. But if you just lose your 50,000, now you got nothing to start with next time, and you know, you gotta start from scratch again, 50,000, how's the people we have 50,000 in case we wanna buy some property.
Don, you had a comment?
Well, basically, you're talking about the town buying a piece of property.
Yes.
Well, if you are a landowner and you make this deal in June and you have to wait till March, you've got the reason for the deposit is that you've prevented him from reselling this property. And by doing that, if the town votes it down, you know, the guy has had his property tied up, but yet he hasn't got anything to show for it now.
And if, like this year, if the market goes down, what you're doing is a deposit typically protects the person for the time frame you're taking his property off the market until a sale goes through.
Right.
And
understand.
I didn't wanna put, refundable or non-refundable as part of this, warrant article, for the simple reason it gives the selectmen some authority to work on that. Because some people maybe will say, I don't mind a refundable on it at all, go ahead to the town, we'll wait till next year. And some other people might say, I need it to be non-refundable, because I need that money to
Yeah.
use right now if I'm gonna hold up the sale of my property, or I'm just gonna put it out to the.
Right, but the
Okay,
the
Mark.
risk to the town
Yeah,
is the fact the voters may say no, and then we're out 10,000, even
That is
5.
gonna risk the town.
It is a risk to the town, and I'm not comfortable putting it just willy-nilly, not willy-nilly, that's the wrong word,
So-
but just putting the town at risk for $10,000 a whack.
So you're not necessarily taking out the whole 47 if someone says they'll take a deposit of 10,000.
That's right.
It's
In fact-
very rare to have a.
In fact, I think
large
we might,
escrow deposit
in
at
fact, I
that
think we
size.
might put a cap on this,
About
as
5%.
up to 50,000 or something like that is what I'd rather do.
Okay,
So the deposit, even if there's more money in that account than that, 50,000 would be the max amount that the selectmen could offer as a deposit.
Well, I don't think 50,000, I've never seen escrow that high for 50,000,
a deposit?
yeah. Unless
it's a huge piece of
Unless it's
property.
a $1 million property.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out there.
We just had one when Bob and I were selectmen and our
of course.
hands were tied.
That's right.
And it was when Bob and I were sitting up here and we couldn't do a thing about it, cause there was no funds that we could access. You can't access conservation funds, you can't access town forest funds, which is plenty of funds in both of those. But those entities can spend their money, but we can't as select board. And I don't want it for outright, I just want it for small, local, village district that will benefit the town.
See, I would put this, village district, I would put this, I would not restrict us to village and medium district, I'd go the entire town. I mean, who knows what may come up, I think you're restricting, the selectmen from buying property on the other side of town, let's say.
Well, I did that only because the town, that since I've been a selectman, and if you look at the capital,
Capital improvement?
Improvement plan,
improvement plan, what they were looking for in capital improvement land was land that was close to the center of town here. For
Right.
future growth, whether it's a soccer field, whether it's new town offices, whether it's parking,
yeah.
and so that's why I did it to those districts.
Dave, I guess can't budge on, if it's not refundable, I can't budge on.
Can you put a dollar amount?
Can you put a
on this?
time period, in
I
other
don't know, we're
words,
gonna have a.
if you
town
have,
attorney review it. It may not
it's,
even.
it's refundable if it's a 60 or 90 or 120 day escrow or something like that.
The problem is, if we executed this in May, when everyone's in May, we'd
Yeah.
have to wait till next following March for a decision.
So you can't put a time on it because
Yeah.
it's till the next town meeting, basically, was part of this.
The only way to get around that is, but the thing is, even if we adopt the RSA, to actually buy property.
Yeah, cause you could use your unassigned balance funds in
Right.
there. So I don't wanna adopt that, it
Well,
gives way too much.
well, the thing is, it
We
avoids
let
us,
3 people decide a $500,000 worth of purchase, you know?
well, we do a $3 million budget, so it's,
People vote on it.
yeah. All right,
That's the difference. So this is just a deposit amount.
I can't support it as written. Justin, any comment?
Well, if the board majority is okay with it on there, we still have to have the town attorney review
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we see what the town
Alright.
attorney says about it?
I've seen escrow amounts, just minuscule amounts, and I don't know, I'd be willing to lose the money, to be honest with you, it's.
Test $10,000.
Well, I'm thinking under 5,000, I'm not thinking over that, so I guess, that's what I'd be willing to lose, so I guess,
Do you think 5,000 would, they'd hold that property for a year?
well,
for
that's
5,000?
what I'm saying, no, nobody's
You
gonna,
need
they'd wanna-
5%, not 5,000.
They'd want a lot more than that for,
I've never seen an escrow that,
well, if you're gonna wait a year, you
more than
will.
5,000. Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah, usually.
to hold it for a year, it's gonna
Usually
be,
it's 30 days.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make an offer on a house or land,
that's
Right,
45,
and this isn't
45,
45 days.
45, cause
And this isn't
they
30
don't
days,
close
so
a
that's
loan,
why the deposit's
Yeah,
gonna
they
have
don't
to
close,
be
they don't close a loan any quicker than that,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Um,
I don't know, I just think it's a lot of risk, and same thing, I think we're gonna get a lot of pushback from the taxpayers if it's a huge sum of money if we can't get it refundable. I think it's gonna be the right,
I think in a big
it's gotta be the
picture,
right kind of,
50,000 is not a huge sum of money when you look at, like Mike says, we're working, the towns, the school's working off millions of dollars in budget, and we're working off 3 million, you know?
well, the thing
It's
is,
$50,000 is a,
yeah, but to just lose it though,
Yeah, you don't have any next year.
but
Do it again.
you're losing it if it doesn't go through the town. But
if
most
the
of
town
these,
votes it down.
but if most of these land deals that I'm talking about within the village district for close ones, they're gonna be something that the town is desirable to.
but what I don't like about this too, the
Yeah,
thing
but
is,
maybe the town vote
why
doesn't-
would, thing is, this kinda circumvents the voters. Voters allowing us to purchase a property. Wow, we don't need voters approval according to this, if this is passed.
up to the amount that's in that
Well,
reserve.
well, it doesn't say that, we could take it out of
It
surplus.
does so, it doesn't say you can take it out of surplus, read it.
Put a deposit, purchase, okay, from the capital reserve fund. All right, let's take $200,000 from our, we just voted on moving some of our surplus rainy day fund into the capital reserve fund, but that's gotta be done by warrant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't do that, Mike.
Okay. I don't know, it's, I have concerns.
So I see what Dave's saying, so we're asking to give you guys the authority to spend the money. Currently, we have 47,000, so that's all you have to spend.
Yeah,
Right.
and I don't think we need a dime more than 50,000 as a depository amount.
Heck,
And that's why I only moved it to
heck,
$5,000.
the board gets upset when we spend $100 more on a contractor working at, doing electrical work for us, and here we are losing $10,000 out of whack?
Well, you're talking about losing it, but we haven't lost it.
But the thing is, we can. Yes, you gotta put, we want 5% of escrow, 5% for tying up my property for a year.
All it takes is, one small group to come together and bring everybody in to the meeting, so they have the majority and vote it down. And it's been done,
Right?
That's like that in every town meeting.
Right, but I mean, you still have to wait a year maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's putting, I agree with your term, it's putting the town at too much risk. But the thing is, what Dave, your intention of, how do we allow a selectman to facilitate a purchase of a piece of property that may come up? That's the thing.
How do you allow it?
In other words, right now, we have no mechanism of doing it at this point, except town meeting.
That's right.
And so, if you put just the word refundable deposit, if someone's, as you said,
If someone's willing to wait the year for the meeting.
Right.
Then they're willing to take the
refundable
put
deposit.
the refundable deposit in there, cause they realize the risk that they're taking. I feel like,
And the thing is, you, as you said, you're not gonna get a person
If
like,
you own the land, all right, and you're taking it off the market, say you own it, and you're taking $600,000 piece of land off the market for close to a year, 9 months, let's say, and the market's going down like it is right now, and you say, I'm willing to do that as long as the deposit's non-refundable. And that way, if it gets turned down at final meeting, you've kept the $50,000, but you would have lost it in market value when
but
you go to
I'm
resell it.
understanding the risk that's associated with taking it off the market for the 9 months till the meeting.
because you're,
Yeah,
and
as long as
keeping
you
the
get a
deposit.
non-refundable deposit,
So if you don't like the terms, then you're gonna sell it to someone else.
Right,
That's what I'm saying, is it has to be someone that wants to sell it to the town.
you just move on, you
And,
lose the
and a
deal,
lot
that's
of
all.
times,
Happens.
the property that you're looking at,
'Cause
it'll
someone-
be you and them talking, it's not on the open market.
And someone has to want to sell it and
Yeah.
want to wait till town meeting for a decision.
and that's the point you brought up earlier. It's someone who wants to donate it to the town for a reasonable amount of money.
We're talking like it's
I've been
gonna
on
be a
this
year.
board and I've seen them lost.
It might be 2 months, we don't know that,
Right.
you know?
They could do it in December,
Right.
at Christmas, you know, so they get the
It's-
write-off.
It's an unknown,
Yeah,
right.
it's totally unknown.
But, you know,
All right,
you make a good point, I know if I had a piece of property and I
Yeah.
was, had it retail, that would be one thing, but if it's, an individual, a longtime community guy, he's gonna sell his farm, go to Florida, you know, says, this is close, we'd love to have the property, I need the tax write-off, whatever.
okay,
Well, why don't we do this, why don't we put refundable in front of deposit? And send it off to the town attorney, see what he says.
I agree,
He might say, no, you can't do it anyway, arguing about a mute point.
right. And, can I just say, get rid of this, a property period, let's not put a restriction on area of town.
What,
Go ahead.
what you might also do for the person that's selling this land is the price we agree on, if the, evaluation comes up higher, you'd go up to 10% over what you offered, but if it drops, you'd stay at your original price. So that gives them protection,
Right, that's what that'd be negotiable in the contract.
yeah,
I think it's case by case basis,
Right.
depending on.
yeah.
You see what, Don has a good point. All right, Dave, let's move it out for action like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
what
let's go
about the
to
village
cemetery ones.
medium density thing?
You wanna
Wanna
let Bob?
scratch that?
You wanna let
Bob, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The only thing is, if it's a person that's interested in the town owning the property, you'll probably be able to use a refundable deposit. But if you're looking at anywhere else in town where someone doesn't care and just wants to get rid of it, you're gonna end up being in a non-refundable situation. So that's what you guys have to sort out, is where you wanna be, cause it's gonna depend on the mindset of the individual selling.
See, my thought as a selectman would be you do a smaller deposit if it was non-refundable, but if it was refundable, you could do a larger deposit to them. So, but that would have to be decided on by the select board as it
And
came
so
up.
not having that word there, you could negotiate that.
That's right, but when you put that in there, then I think you're pretty much,
I think the deposit has to go into an escrow account though,
All
because otherwise it might be
deposits go in
lost.
escrow fund.
Yeah, huh?
that all happens automatically.
That's pretty much, all right, what about the village district, do you have any problem striking that?
Well, my problem with that is, under the capital improvements
Right,
policies, we were looking for property in the proximity of the township. And the only reason I did medium is because if you go not too far outside of town here, it goes right to medium, right at the top of the hills here, so.
right, I'm glad meeting is in there.
Yeah, so that's why I added medium, cause I was originally just gonna do village
Because,
district.
because the Kerber property was actually outside the village
Yeah.
district.
That's
And
right.
then, if you get further out there, typically you're talking town forest or
All right,
conservation.
I can leave it at that, okay, legal opinion, we're good,
Okay.
let's move
And
on.
are we putting the word refundable or no?
Yes. Questionable, we're gonna have Wendy
Why
show,
don't we get some reference from the town attorney on that as well?
yeah,
Okay,
put it in italics, ask him
Refundable
about
or
that.
non-refundable.
okay,
You don't really wanna muddy the waters by putting a dollar amount
No.
or up to a,
No, because the dollar amount's already established by what's in that account.
I know, but I'm saying, again, if it was a 5,000, something that you don't get refunded at 5,000, okay, yeah. But you don't wanna put a $25,000 deposit that's non-refundable.
Like Mike said, people voted us in to watch all the numbers for the entire town and budgeted, so
Yeah,
they
Yeah,
have
but
to have
may
enough
not be us
I
confidence.
mean,
doing this later on.
if we put 25,000 non-refundable, these people are gonna get the tar, he'll get the feathers, and we'll be out of town soon.
Yeah, I don't think we would do that. but-
No, but thing is, for what's been, stranger things have happened in the past, as I
But it's
understand.
not always us too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, 13,
that's pretty
Gorm
cut
Pond?
and dry.
no problem on that one.
Same as last year, total amount of the, bid is $27.20 with divers. The, withdrawal from the capital reserve is $13.60, and the grant is, $13.60.
Okay, good.
That's pretty cut and dry.
14,
Next one is requested by the cemetery trustees. We have $12.74 in the cemetery fund maintenance care trust fund. So he's asking the voters to authorize withdrawal of the $12.74.
you want it now?
And transfer,
That's what's left over from the fund I found.
and transfer into
But-
the cemetery expendable trust, so
Okay.
that they can continue to use the money.
Okay.
Close out one, it's kind of a housekeeping thing.
Understood.
Okay, next one is,
Don, you'll be able to speak to that if we have to?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
he also wants to establish another expendable trust. We did consult with town attorney during the summer to see if we could, put the proceeds from sale of cemetery benches and cornerstones and et cetera into the expendable trust that's already been established. He said no. It's only for the purchase sales of the plots, so this is pretty much the same thing. For additional maintenance and upkeep of the cemetery monument benches, cornerstones, and to appoint the cemetery trustees as agents to expend. And this way here, he sometimes has a little bit of a profit, he can buy by bulk and save, money, and then have a set price, so he's charging the resident, a set price for his money, and then the excess he can use to further beautify, right?
without having to go through a warrant every year.
Correct. Or the money lapsing into the general fund.
How's it getting funded?
It's funded from the sale of,
Oh,
Right now, the cornerstones, go into the general fund and then it comes out of our budget. The benches, we've never had benches until now.
Yeah.
And that money you know, comes in and it goes into the general fund,
In your general
or
fund,
unexpected revenue.
Yeah, and the
And s-
problem is,
in his general fund or ours?
I know
it's
general.
ours, it's unanticipated revenue, and the problem is, even that, those funds should lapse at the end of the calendar year. And if he orders a bench and the engraving hasn't been done, or you haven't installed the bench and purchased it, we have to encumber the funds again, so it's a nightmare for accounting. This way here, we will be out of the picture, all the sales from these,
So Don, I can expect to have a commensurate decrease in your cemetery budget every year based upon how much you collect?
No.
it's
No,
usually
that-
about 600 or 800 that he has to
But
spend.
I would like you to just kind of park it to the side that we brought in $3,181 in recovered interest off of the perpetual care account.
Yeah.
Understood.
And
No,
that went into the general fund, so if I do need any money, well, I'm gonna be knocking on the door.
Okay, so noted.
Can't you put meters on the benches?
Huh?
Can't you put meters on the benches?
I'm good. I was
Sit
thinking.
here, put some money in.
All right, number 15.
Okay, so,
Put
oh,
candy
I've gotta change
machines.
the numbers, 13, 14, 15, this
16, so it'll be the 16.
the new 16. Recently, we received the notice from the Department of Revenue that the, law changed, regarding the optional veterans tax credit. And in order to comply with the new law and the wording, we have to put this article on the warrant. Basically, if we do not, then the $500 credit that is currently established for the regular veterans will
I don't.
drop down to $50. They will still qualify for credit, but it will drop down to 50. What the language change is that it's allowing, active, how would you put it?
Active duty soldiers
Active duty
who don't have a
soldiers,
214.
but not been discharged yet, but they qualify, so. It just,
No
it's-
officers?
Say again? Okay.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
So that one has
It's
to be.
more housekeeping.
Yeah, it's more housekeeping, and it's just to ensure that,
But it doesn't,
Expanding.
it's not an increase, we're not, there's no increase in the town. Some towns have it up to 1,000, but I don't know, I think 500 where we've had it for more than 10 years, 15 years is fine.
the last time it was 2007, and then we brought it up to 500.
Okay.
And then the next one is up to the board. This is the all veterans credit that was established a few years back. We have not yet adopted that, and.
I thought it got failed when it went through on a warrant.
No, we never
No,
submitted
we
it.
had
He
a
had a
couple of
peti-
people who wanted the petition. I provided them with the warrant language and the petition forms, cause the boards at the time were not interested in putting it on the warrant.
It's because it added a substantial amount of money, if I remember that year.
Well, we don't know for sure, we hadn't done a
Linda
study.
did a budget, right, for us?
Pardon?
Linda did a quick look,
Linda
just,
did a
just,
budget
just a
for us.
swag on
Oh,
it.
she's able
A
to.
swag.
Okay,
And that's why we decided not to put it on that year without
Right.
coming as a,
so I put it there because that's the other, change in the law, it affects these two, all veterans, and then, optional credit, doesn't affect the total disabled, which is $72.35.
Just for the record, I'm not in favor of that.
I mean, it's possible that someone can still come up.
what's the difference here?
One's a wartime veteran, for people who put their life on the line, during wartime. One is just for any veteran who serves for 90 days, gets this $500.
Cause they
Now,
have to
on
get,
this one, it was wartime?
The first one,
The first one's wartime.
yes.
but it now is, it's
Well,
going
like
to
the wording's
expand
is-
to active,
All veterans.
It doesn't say wartime.
But it is.
if you look at the RSA, it is.
Well, our thing should say it.
Well,
That's the
that's
language that
DRA.
came from the DRA, that they,
Shall the town yard approve the
Optional
readopt
voucher.
optional veterans tax credit?
And then all veterans tax.
Well, the front page.
We did have a couple of years, about 2 years ago, we had someone come in and was considering a petition. It
I
was-
would say that that 16, we'll leave it off, cause it would just be more confusing for the item number 15 above it.
I mean, like I said, it's possible that we have a petition, warrant articles, that deadline is the 6th of, February, but typically that person will come in and ask for this language in the sheet, and you'll have advance notice that there's someone trying to, petition the board to put that on the warrant.
So going back now to the fire department's capital reserve.
Right,
Yep,
you dropped the transfer station,
By
$5 grand.
But Jeff increased his by 5, which I didn't expect.
do you wanna do that?
No, I said Jeff increased his by 5, which I didn't expect.
Well, you can lower it, you have the authority, I asked him if he was okay with the standard 20.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, he's also trying for a,
Second vehicle, but the thing is, we were gonna go with the lease though option, lease to buy, remember?
so that money, how much is in his fund right now?
45,
So if we go with a lease, he won't need capital.
No,
reserve
his,
increase.
his would just be basically a payment every month.
I'd be willing to lower that a little bit, Dave.
To 20?
go
Yeah.
back to the 20, the original 20.
Only because I think that, you know, it's important for the fire department, we've lowered the fire departments for Jeff's department, we've lowered the fire department for Woody's department.
Right,
right,
so
yeah.
you wanna bring it up to 70?
I would think that if,
I
I would think we should at least do the
I
same.
think 70, so it's a zero-sum game here, we're bringing
Yes.
2 down 5, Justin, you with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Lean, I just wanna say thank you, I know you put a lot of work, hours, to get this together,
I
thank you.
mean, the warrant articles don't seem crazy this year.
No,
they're really, I think people have gotten used to seeing the regular deposits for the capital reserve, so it's like you said, it keeps the tax rate from spiking when we really need something, in an emergency.
how much, Lean, one thing I wanted, what was the figure for elapsing funds this year, or, what number do we have for elapsing funds?
Oh, for the operating budget?
Yes,
If you go back to this was run today, and I don't think we discussed
we
this.
did not discuss it.
Revenues,
Where are we
We
at
had,
now?
we had budgeted a raise
Last
and
two
appropriate
sheets.
27,847, minus 26,39510. We have 144,000 lapsing from the operating budget. There probably will
Which
be
one?
another small,
Where did you get that from?
Difference between these numbers here, actual and budgeted.
so right now it's, where actual is after this week's expenses.
Actual revenues?
No, this is
Expenses.
expenses.
So
Where
we
do you
had,
see that one? Do we get it today? Oh, yeah, right
Yeah.
here.
it's on both. If you look at the actual on this one, it's the same, I just have a lot of notes and it's a bigger font. 263910 is the
Oh, I'm
actual,
not at the right page again.
the last page.
Okay,
They're both the same, Dave. What, except they,
yeah, but I took it out of order now, hold on. Expenses,
For the record, I said it, glad it's not me this time.
it's got handwritten on the top, expenses.
you know, this one, I didn't even
revenues,
touch this one,
revenues,
Which one's that?
expenses.
expenses.
Oh, yeah, it's the
I
same,
use this one,
yeah, they're both the same, except this one's got more detail and it's smaller font.
Yeah, but when you go to the last page of this one, it doesn't have what we're looking for.
Yes, it does. The
Where is
middle column is the actual, column 4.
Yeah,
That's 2,639,510.
Got it?
yeah,
The budget that we asked for the voters for was 2,784,297. You take that, subtract from what we were, given, it's 144,787. So that's the lapsing from the operating budget, and then you have your excess on your revenue, which is how we have been working.
Towards keeping a reasonable tax rate.
what was that total on there, Lean?
144,787 for the lapsing expenses to date.
787.
That could change slightly.
And revenues, we already did revenues, but they were up.
Yeah, revenues are up,
So revenues are 200, so you get 344 to play with.
yeah,
And you're gonna knock that down to about 300 by the time we get to use it.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
Last minute stuff,
so
yeah.
the increase based on what was given was 447. So you're more than, it's almost a flat budget if you look at,
It's close to it.
It is a flat budget if you take the 170 out of there from the bond,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
you know?
Because the
You
warrants,
don't have the warrants in there,
that's true,
so.
that's true. Well, the thing is, we should spend some more money,
What
not,
were these ones here, statement of actual account revenue?
Well, those were the ones I thought might
Oh,
come
yeah,
up with
just to tally
questions,
them up.
and that's why I gave you the revenues in detail, but
Okay.
I don't know that I gave them all to you guys.
alright. Let's go
going
back to
to
the
now?
mailbox now,
Oh, yeah, I didn't type anything up, sorry.
it's alright,
Can I go in 24?
we gotta finish
Yeah,
up
quarter
here.
or two.
Holy mackerel.
What's hot in the mailbox thing that we need to take care of?
No, I don't know, I didn't even.
The
get
one
to-
meeting Bob comes to, we run right to the end.
You're cutting into my nap.
I know.
Mine too,
Alright,
that's Chris's, about the
yeah,
warrant.
alright, MSK,
I'll give you
that's
that.
fine.
I'll initial that.
We got a shed bid, I think only
Oh,
one.
that's old.
Old, okay. Public, Sean Tangway,
That was about the,
His rates.
Conservation Commission closing,
Oh,
Right.
yeah, so they want just one selectman
this
chair.
is the chair.
you. We need signatures later on, okay?
We've already all done that.
Okay, I think that's it. I gotta talk non-public for about 2 minutes.
No, there's a thing in there from Irish for the,
Oh, yeah.
town hall, you wanna
sent
have
it to me,
Dave talk
Dave.
about that?
The scones, what, how do you pronounce it? I always,
Sconces.
I'm always gonna
I
eat
thought it
the
was under here.
scones.
Very well.
Scones,
We got a quarter report from the welfare department.
oh, that's right.
Just read it if you would, initial it. Minimal activity, which is good to hear. And sconces.
You saw the 30-day contract with Bo.
Yeah, 30-day, for the record, Woody executed a 30-day contract on behalf of Dunbarton, so we won't have a shortcoming with fill-in dumpsters as we're in a transition to a new
Carrier.
carrier with our, what's it called? Wind waste?
Anyways,
Wind waste, which is a co-op we belong to.
What are you looking for?
The,
there you go. I don't know what
Sconces.
to do with
I can speak to it anyway.
okay, speak to it.
See, quote is in there. It should be. right?
We had a problem that was brought up earlier. The electrician wired the building. From his original proposal, with the wall sconces shown in different locations. And then the architect provided a final plan, which didn't update the electrical property, and with wall sconces in other locations. So this was found out during the rough electrical after he had them all done. So the decision was made to just leave the wiring in the wall since he had already finished the wiring. And they were gonna put cover plates on them, round circular cover plates on the second floor. There was gonna be one either side of the window, and just before you go into the room on the second floor, there's another one. And I seen that and I said, there's no way the town of Dunbarton wants cover plates on a brand new addition to our building. I said, it looked like mistake after mistake, so I said, go ahead and get some wall sconces to match the other ones, which the other ones have a nice globe that matches the ones that used to be in this building and that building. Well, not realizing, went ahead and ordered them. They were $650 each for the wall sconces. And then he charged us just for the labor to assemble them and install them. Their total was $27.06. And, when I talked with, George from Irish Electric for this, he said that he could take $200 or $300 off of this because he did not want us to overpay for them. So, we can either wait to get a final from him
I like the way.
on that, because if you take 650 times 3, 6 times 3 is 1950. And so, I think we can wait to get a final on that from him,
it.
cause he said he would take
I
200 or
appreciate
300
that.
off of it.
Yeah, I already did.
I can send him an email asking.
Please.
for
Cause
buys.
I sent an email back as soon as I got that, and I said, is this including the light fixture and all the labor? And he put that the labor was already done, other than assembling those and installing them,
What about the gold plating?
Wow.
so.
The gold plating?
So he said he doesn't want the town after, doing all the work. Oh, by the way, all the lights in the upstairs are installed in
Okay.
the 20 wafer lights are installed in there.
How's
And,
it look? Did you
It
turn it on?
looks good and it's very bright,
No candles needed now?
not so far.
They're dimmers too, right, you said? There's
Um,
dimmers on them?
He said the switch shows dimmable on there, but there was no dimmer in them, so the guy that installed them said he's gonna, the guy's on vacation, George, this week. He was gonna check with him and see.
So, is he not charging a profit margin on the sconces?
That's what he said. He's giving us a direct cost on, and then he's gonna reduce that labor by $200 or $300.
The only thing is,
And that didn't go through Chacoin either.
no, by you directing them, you violated our process.
Yes,
Nobody-
I did.
We would've normally had bids on them and et cetera, so.
Well, I didn't think they were $650 each fixture either.
Well,
Yeah, good.
I don't know, I don't think we have any action, I mean, he'll tear them out and we'll still have to pay for labor.
No, they can put cover plates on them, we can look at the cover plates. And
Hey, if they're gold plated cover plates, I can spray paint them.
they have to be.
No, I'm trying to make a light of this, but at the same time, we gotta be vigilant on this. So,
I think next time we gotta watch before we say go ahead, we gotta
yeah.
get a price
You
on it.
walked through with me too, you know.
Right, but the thing is, normally, that was outside the bid for the, I mean, outside the renovation proposal. And I think we just gotta be careful from here on out.
And it's for what, 3 of them?
Three of them. See what you can do to get the best price for us. I don't wanna stiff the guy, because he's been doing a lot of good
I was
work.
gonna say, we've also
Yeah.
been giving them quite a bit of work.
True.
I already did, so he's gonna take.
Yeah, no,
$200
that's what I'm saying, I just want the final bid. I don't wanna stiff the guy.
Yeah.
And,
And ask them about the fire department still too.
right,
Already did.
okay.
How's that coming?
I told him, finish this up and then we'll go in there.
What about the panel, any more word on the panel?
18th is when the supposedly parts are shipping, so
And then about 2 weeks for to get here?
I don't know. I don't know if it's, the
Just-
problem with vendors is they give you the ship date, but they don't mean the date that you're receiving it. It means the date that they leave the factory.
Well, just to let you know,
Means the date they're taping the box.
our electrical work is all on standby, because we're waiting for a panel, missing parts, just for the public.
Yeah, I knew that, yeah.
And, I just, it's frustrating when we have supply shortages like we have in this country.
Right after the meeting, town meeting.
Yep.
And meanwhile, I did, Lean and I got confirmation that, you know, they are gonna monitor the elevator with the company we have.
Yes, good news.
And, so they're all ready to go,
And it's what, only $300 a year?
I was gonna say fairly inexpensive too.
Yeah.
$336, I think.
And
And,
again, for the public, it's, new state requirements have to have a dedicated telephone line with video monitoring inside any elevator. And that was something new, it was never brought up, it's just a new requirement this year, has to be in place before the elevators are
State will
inspected.
So that, what is it called, a Lulu?
yeah,
It's open, basically, isn't it?
looks just like an elevator.
Well, it's all enclosed?
Yep.
Oh, I thought usually they're just like a small enclosed lift.
One that's only going up 3 or 4 feet up to like 48 inches is all open, but this, cause it's going entire floor, is all enclosed. It's just a lighter duty elevator, like you can see, there's only room, like, if us 3 went to go in there, it'd be very tight, 2 of us,
Probably just used pretty
probably
tight.
more likely, I take up a good portion of it.
Well,
So-
just one of us.
You could get a wheelchair in there, and maybe one
So
person,
that's the one that goes onto the stage?
the one on the stage isn't,
We're not doing that.
What do you mean?
We're waiting on, the thing is, if the stage is gonna have
the Casanos are working on that.
right,
Oh, that's, okay, so that's not impacted with this,
no,
okay, I get it, okay.
That one will require a phone line,
Yeah, but not a,
no monitoring.
yeah, okay, that's what I was wondering, I was like, holy moly.
but the thing is, the price was exorbitant, and we elected not to do it, at this point.
Yeah, right, okay, yeah,
If I win the lottery tomorrow night, I'll donate it.
I'll hold it to it.
And I got news, this week that the check was sent to the drywaller that's gonna be installing that drywall for no charge.
Nice.
Okay, Dave, that's good.
Any update on when he's starting that or no?
I didn't push him cause I was
Alright.
waiting for the
Alright,
lights.
I gotta get this moving going. Public comment. Bob,
No,
Lean, town administrator.
You look beat.
Yeah.
I did have
Okay, I have one, I have a follow-up for non-public, and the thing is, if it takes more than 6 minutes, you can throw me out.
I have a little follow-up for that too.
Throw me out?
I'll do the throwing out.
I'll hold the door.
No, Jess?
Kaminsky,
You're gonna
yes,
be, you're gonna do
Yeah.
it, you're gonna make the motion.
I know. I could go non-public for RSA 90